ESPN, brought to you by Sumner One.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis, where it's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. My camera, Brooke Grimsley, Matthew Rocchio is back, Randy Karraker. My camera was automatically moving away from me. It's like telling me, Randy, you've got a face for radio. If you happen to
That's
join
what we get
us,
told all the time, right?
right, all the time. If you're happening to join us on our Air Alliance Team Studio Cam, just go to YouTube, 101 ESPN STL. Brooke, Randy, and Matthew. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm watching the YouTube video right now of the cameras both just going completely far away from our faces. I feel like I should be a little offended, but we did get a nice shot of the Lindenwood helmet right behind me.
There we go. Go Lions.
Yeah. We're a Lions room in here.
We are. That's a good looking helmet, and we've all. You know what we should do is like the week of the first Lions game. They were kind enough, the Lindenwood Athletic Department, to provide us with Lindenwood football gear. Maybe we should. Even Dan accepted it, and Dan's a Lindenwood grad. But maybe we should all wear on one day, just be a Lindenwood team the week before their
including
opener.
Rocchio.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Matthew's, he's in.
Oh, I got no problem supporting Lindenwood.
There we go.
There we go. We got quite a show coming up. We're going to talk to Chris Kerber. Did we text to Chip? Chip will come on either way, but I don't know if we texted him to come on today.
We'll send out the bat signal for Chip.
They're in Cincinnati, so he's not doing anything clearly.
Are you saying there's nothing to do in Cincinnati?
Yeah, you can have chili.
Skyline chili.
So Cardinals open a 3-game series in Cincinnati tonight, and we'll have Chip on. He's used to it. So the Cardinals split with the Royals. I hate having a Major League Sunday off. In my opinion, when the Major League Baseball people start their scheduling, there are 4 or 5 things that should be inherent in the schedule, which is really tough to do with their stupid schedule the way it is now. But Cards and Cubs should play during the summer so that St. Louis and Chicago people can go back and forth during the course of the summer. Same thing with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Same thing with the Giants and the Dodgers. So you should have that in place. You should have every team playing on the Monday of Memorial Day and Labor Day, plus every team should play on the 4th of July. And Brooke, I hate the idea of teams taking weekend days off. The days off should be Monday and Thursday, and you should never take a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday off in Major League Baseball.
It always sneaks up on you, too, when they have that just random, very rare Sunday off. Because yesterday morning, I was like, okay, wait, what time is the game today? And I was like, there's no game today?
Right.
It feels weird.
And if you're Major League Baseball, if you're going to do that, why not wait until the football season starts?
That's a good point.
You know, you're going to get clobbered in the ratings by the NFL anyway. So if you're going to have Sundays off, might as well take them off when you have no chance for anybody to see you anyway.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, Randy.
Yeah.
And you kind of need it right now with the Cardinals. They need a chance to win as many games as possible, especially after this weekend. You don't like to see the split of the series against the Royals. Now, the Royals are a pretty good team over there. They are. But I think one of the biggest things is the bullpen and what happened there. I mean, the Royals scored 6 runs off the Cardinals bullpen.
Yeah.
Do you have any concerns about the bullpen at this point?
Big time. Now we get Riley O'Brien back. He comes off the 60-day and goes to Memphis. And the Cardinals did DFA Nick Robertson. I would think Riley will be here sooner rather than later. But yes, you have to be concerned about the way things happened over the weekend. They won 8-5 on Friday thanks to the 2 Wilson Contreras homers and that huge Victor Scott 2-run double. And you talk about something obvious, how much harder he's hitting the ball now with the leg kick than he did before he went out to Memphis and listened to Ryan Ludwig and started the leg kick, and all of a sudden he's hitting the daylights out of the ball in terms of hitting it hard.
I'm glad that he listened, but sometimes when I hear those stories, I start to wonder, why didn't you listen a little bit sooner? And that's nothing against Victor Scott II. He's put in a lot of work, and he's given a lot of credit to Ludwig for helping him really figure out his swing and to, obviously unlock a little bit more of this power that we haven't seen from him. But don't you wonder sometimes I get that you do what got you there, but you always have to be able to continue to be workable
and
in that
adjust,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
Baseball's a game of adjustments. And I wonder, Brooke, as we watch Jordan Walker, who has a 1,000-plus OPS this month down in Memphis, 3 homers in 47 plate appearances. He's hitting the ball hard also. I wonder if Jordan Walker is taking the same tack as Victor Scott and maybe listening a little bit more and applying what a former major leaguer like Ryan Ludwig maybe he's buying what Ryan is selling.
Yeah, Jordan Walker is doing really well. He just keeps destroying baseballs. He's hit, his 9th home run of the season, 5th in his last 15 games. His average is up to 338, especially in those last 65 at-bats. So he's unlocked some power. I think that at this point, Randy, he's not just knocking on the door of wanting to come back up here. I think he's banging it down.
I think he is, too. Now, there needs to be a little bit more than just 3 weeks. But here we're on the 12th. You get to expand your team by 2 roster spots on September 1st. If he has another 3 weeks like the last 3 weeks, then by all means, bring him up and give him an opportunity because he'll have earned it. You have to reward. If they tell him that he needs to be productive and he has a productive 6 weeks, to me, he has to be rewarded.
I think so, too. Yeah. What did they say that they need to see from him?
Yep.
Well,
production.
in the most recent comments.
Yeah. Right,
production,
right.
yes.
Exactly. On Saturday, the bullpen collapsed. A 2-1 6th-inning lead vanished. Royals score a run in the 6th and 4 in the 7th. Ryan Fernandez allowing 3 runs on 4 hits in just a third of an inning. And the Redbirds split with Kansas City. And right now, as they start today, for me, Brooke, the division has gotten out of hand. We've talked until late last week about how the Cardinals' best chance was to win the division. At the moment, the Cardinals are 7.5 games back. The Royals have played 117 games. The Cardinals have played 118 games. If the Royals, in their remaining games, would go 23-22, and their schedule is easier than the Cardinals would have to go 30-14 to tie them. So if you're, did I say Royals? I meant Brewers. The Brewers right now are, for me, a prohibitive favorite in the division. I don't see the Cardinals playing 667 ball to catch them.
No. Well, and with the Brewers, we keep saying maybe eventually things will fall through for them, but it hasn't happened yet. And they just continue to hold a commanding lead of the division. So I don't know which path is easier at this point. I know that we're discussing this later in the show. Which path is easier? Winning the division, which I know you just talked about. That's quite a few games that the Cardinals are back right now, or trying to get a wild card spot, which I know that's a shorter distance. I think it's 2.5 games back of a wild card spot that the Cardinals currently are right now. I know that's a shorter distance, but you look at the teams around them, and they made some really aggressive moves at the trade deadline. And teams like the Diamondbacks are getting healthier.
Yeah, those teams are so hot. And the Cardinals have not shown a propensity to get high yet. Maybe they can. None of us expected a 17-game winning streak 3 years ago, and it happened. But the way it looks now, it just looks like the Padres and the Mets and the Diamondbacks are better teams than the Cardinals. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Cardinals were 3.5 games out last Monday, and they're 7.5 out now.
Ooh. Yeah,
So
that shows you how quickly. Oh, and by the way, the Cubs are right behind you. So a lot of things have changed in the division. From the 5-7-3, I expected more out of Ryan, his immaculate stash, disappointed. I want to touch on that because Ryan Fernandez, as you mentioned, he allowed 3 runs on 4 hits in a third of an inning the other day. And he had a brilliant June, and then we started to see him really taper off. I guess instead of decline, you could say his numbers inflated, his ERA, because before the All-Star break, he had 2.08 ERA, I believe, and now, after the break, it's over 11.
Yeah, I don't know what's caught up to him. I wonder if the league is caught up to him or perhaps the work has caught up to him, but something has caught up to him. And normally, Brooke, when you run into a situation like that as a young pitcher and you have a magnificent mustache, the mustache kind of allows you to power through and remain great. And that hasn't happened for him, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah. Is there a stash stat that really helps push that narrative forward?
Well, the best is Raleigh Fingers. He's in the Hall of Fame, right? So it starts there. But, yeah, there are some other guys. Al Rabosky, he didn't wear down at the end of seasons with his Fu Manchu. There are some great mustaches out there in history. Rod Beck was a guy. Now, he also coined the phrase, you can't pull fat. So he had the goatee going and you can't pull fat. That's like the daily double for relief pitchers. If you have that going for you, you're going to succeed. You're going to save 47 games in a season.
Yeah, that's an intimidating look to have on the mound.
It is. Pretty good. League's Cup, St. Louis City SC over Portland on Saturday night, 3-1. I think that was actually a Friday night game. I said that wrong. Cedric Toyshert tallying in the opening minutes of the second half. Portland tied it then in the 83rd. Marcel Hartle scored to help St. Louis move ahead 2-1.
I like how you put a little twang on that one.
Yeah, thank you, Hurdle. And then Simon Betcher scoring in the 87th minute, 3-1 victory. League's Cup action, but action nonetheless for St. Louis City SC. Go City SC. It looks like John Hackworth has things going in the right direction, at least with St. Louis City. Not only John Hackworth, but the fact that your three newcomers all scored goals.
Yeah, that really helps. We talked about them getting reinforcements, and we talked to Hackworth before some of those guys were getting in too. And I thought the comments were really interesting where he said, well, with Lutz, like maybe let's slow down a little bit with getting a lot of these new guys in, but it seems to be paying off, at least at this moment, so you can build up something there.
Yep. Tomorrow night, City will face Club America tomorrow evening in Carson. Do they have a coach yet? Club America in Carson, California, in the League's Cup round of 16 at 9:30.
I think they have a coach.
Okay. I know that Club America had fired Greg Berhalter, and I didn't know if they'd replaced him yet.
Oh, no.
It's different, Randy. I was so confused, too. And seeing Rockio's face trying to figure out, wait, did something happen? Did I miss something?
Yeah, I keep up on the League MAX coaches. Yeah, I can totally name all 30 MLS coaches, too. 29, I guess. Because I think there's 29. I think there's 2019 is in the league. My bad.
There you go.
That was terrible. It's a club in Mexico, but they call themselves Club America.
Hold on.
I know this threw you for a loop last year.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to have to do this
Why
again.
Why would they be called Club Mexico or Club Juarez or Club Tijuana?
Because they're also in America?
South. They don't really count.
Central.
I don't think you can say that, Randy. They do
I
count.
guess
They matter.
Central America.
Oh, they're a soccer team. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure we clarify
Oh, it's
that.
one of the biggest soccer clubs on this hemisphere.
Well, maybe they should change their name to end all the confusion. Maybe they should be Club Mexico.
Are you just
same argument you had last year, almost verbatim.
You do this every year. Is it because you're feeling really patriotic because of Team USA, USA? Tied with China for the most gold medals.
Golds. We've killed everybody. Well, we didn't kill everybody, but we dominated everybody in terms of overall medals. Yeah, we didn't kill anybody.
Isn't that what matters? But were you just slightly disappointed that we tied for gold with China?
I was majorly upset. Yeah, there's no excuse. And I know you say we should dominate everything. And I don't know if we should dominate everything, but we should win everything. We should win everything. There's no doubt about that. How can we not come up with 41 golds? Come on. How can we not win every sprinting competition? We're America.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So we should dominate everything.
Well, not everything. I mean, we aren't going to win ping pong. We aren't going to win badminton. It's just there are some things that we're just not going to win, right?
Why ping pong and badminton?
Well, the funny thing, Randy says that the last 15 gold medals that China won, it was 4 in ping pong and 11 in diving.
Yeah. I think the
second. Was it really?
Yeah, they went on a clean sweep of those events. On the back half, they took ping pong and diving and absolutely just beat the hell out of everybody else.
What about breakdancing? We didn't win that one either, did we?
People are not happy about it.
Didn't we start breakdancing, or am I just...
We did, yes. It was a style of dance that originated, I believe, in Brooklyn.
Yeah, hip-hop.
We should have
and
won
there
that.
was a rapper. It started at his parties. I was reading about this last night, about how... And it's the breakdancing community wants it to be called breaking, not breakdancing.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Breaking community.
I was trying to figure out how it got into the Olympics, and I didn't realize this, but host cities get to pick 5 sports that they want in the Olympics. And breaking was one of the choices of Paris, and it'll probably be the only time that it ever shows up in the Olympics.
That's it.
Yeah.
It should be in the LA Olympics.
It's not going to be. I think I saw that.
But I think
we
it
got
should
baseball
be,
and softball and stuff like that.
My thing is, it should be. If you're going to do it in France, bring it over to the country where it originated. I would argue probably in... Maybe it's I'd say it's probably a top 5 hotspot for the art of breaking would be LA across from New York. And so let's do it.
Yeah,
let's show these people what's up.
Just dump baseball.
Let's just...
I'm not saying dump baseball. I don't think you really have to dump a sport to get...
No, you do. You'd have to dump because that's one of the ones that LA chose.
I know.
Baseball, softball, lacrosse, football, and one other one.
See, the problem is those are all good arguments because they are all also originated in America.
Yeah. And you know what? Those are all sports where you actually keep score and you don't have to be beholden to judging.
Yeah, I watched some of the breaking. I was going to say breakdancing, but I'm glad that you allowed me to learn more about the breaking community and where I don't say breakdancing. And I don't understand what the scoring system was, anything like that. I know that there was an Australian woman who definitely was getting a lot of attention for her breaking. And that was my takeaway from it.
Yeah. Our friend DeMarco Farr, as a youngster, was a big-time break dancer.
Really?
Yeah. as a young fella, not a small fella, but a young fella. Apparently, he was fantastic growing up in Richmond, California.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should have sent him to the Olympics.
He would have been awesome. He would have been awesome.
From the 314, sorry, someone said, we should have won shooting too. I mean, this is the USA.
It is, yeah.
Was that a Randy text?
It might have been. Lindenwood is dominant at shooting. That's one of the things that we're great at. Our shooting team has won like 9 or 10 in a row.
We medaled in skeet shooting, but I think we just didn't do anything in rifle or shotgun shooting. But shotgun shooting, skeet shooting, I think we medaled in.
We got some pretty good shooters.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. We do.
It's true.
So congratulations to the USA men's and women's basketball team. And congratulations to France for winning silver in both. That's pretty good. We better look out for Wemby.
I don't think you can miss him, Randy.
No, we need to find
quite a big fellow.
We need to find somebody who can defend a deft 7'6" three-point shooter. It's not easy to do, and he's aggressive and goes to the hole. We were fortunate to hold him off on Saturday, and hopefully we'll be able to do that again in 28.
He is so athletic for his size that it's just shocking to see it sometimes.
And congratulations, by the way, to our town's Jason Tatum for winning a gold medal. His second. Good for him. He didn't get a chance to play much, but he'll be the man in the next Olympics, I would think, if he desires to play. You know, one of the things that you run into when you're Jason Tatum, and I get that everybody's upset because his first team All-NBA, but what's he do? What position does he play? The same position that LeBron and Durant do. Durant wasn't a starter either. So he does the same thing. I think it was very difficult, and I don't think Steve Kerr was wrong necessarily in not getting him all the minutes because you know that Curry and LeBron and Durant are going to play, and then you have to have a big man. So what are you going to do? Take Holiday off the floor? I don't think so. And there's a couple of other guys. Devin Booker, you can take Devin Booker off the floor. I do think it was a math problem as much as anything else.
Yeah, he did play a few minutes.
Yeah, I think he got 11 minutes on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. And I do understand, too, the aspect of, for LeBron, for Steph, what this means for them and possibly their last time playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume for LeBron this would be his last time playing.
Yeah, it has to be. He'll be 43
but
next
you
time.
never know, though, with him. He's
in
still
LA?
playing. Yeah.
Well, Bronny will be on the next team. Yeah, okay, maybe not. So we're off and running here on this edition of the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Matthew, and Randy coming up. 3 things we loved from the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Time for 3 things we loved about the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Brooke and Randy. Brooke, what do you got for us with number 3?
For me, it's going to be the ending of the Olympics in Paris. I didn't know going into it every single year. I think I'll be a casual fan and maybe I won't watch that much, but it ropes you in every single year. You stay to watch Team USA basketball, and then you also stay to watch, I don't know, breaking or something like that. It feels like you start to learn a lot more about sports that you never thought that you would pay attention to. And some of the stories, the storylines, there was just a lot of great moments and legendary stars. So the number 3 for me would be possibly the last run for a group of stars that we've been watching in the Olympics for such a long time. For Team USA, that would be LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant. We were just discussing that during the break. Could this be the last run for these guys? And if it was, what a dominant run it was for Team USA. And possibly, I know that Simone Biles has asked over and over again if this will be her last chance, if she'll be returning for 2028. Who knows? Katie Ledecky, they're both around 27, 28 years old. So maybe they'll return for the 2028 Olympics. But if this was the last run for a lot of legendary Team USA athletes, what a dominant run it was.
Yeah, and we again show our dominance in the sports world. Even though Russia isn't able to compete, I think Russia has kind of lost its luster in terms of being able to compete with, well, clearly because they cheat. That's why they won. But I don't think that there is a country close to us in terms of athletic excellence in the world. And it'll be really fun to have them in 4 years in LA. But I'm with you. I always go in saying, yeah, okay, maybe I'll watch. But then stars evolve and we get an opportunity to meet new athletes and we get to watch exquisite play. So, yeah, I loved them from start to finish, except for the finish with the weird closing ceremonies.
You didn't like Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise, the closing of the closing was good. But I didn't like the people dressed up as condoms. It was just all weird. Or maybe were they mummies? What were those people? What were they trying to accomplish there?
I was bummed that he landed it.
You were bummed that he landed
You
it?
wanted him to crash, huh?
He was powered by Scientology. That's
with every fiber of my being.
That was a very interesting exit ceremony, to your point, Randy.
Yeah, it was. Brooke, my number 3, many years ago, Tom Brokaw, former NBC News anchor, came into town. He was an avid bicycle rider, and he rode the Katy Trail and called it America's best kept secret. And it really is. I had a chance to get back out to the Katy Trail. Usually I ride from Creve Coeur Park right out to the Katy Trail, but then I don't ride the trail itself. A couple of times this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, I took my bike out to the Katy Trail and rode it, and it's just magnificent. We are so lucky to have a beautiful biking trail here in the St. Louis area, and I utilized it this weekend. Missouri State Parks do a great job of maintaining it, and the great thing about it is if you want to ride for a half hour, you can, or walk for you can walk for a half hour. If you want to ride for 4 hours, you can ride for 4 hours. Whatever you want to do, because it goes all the way to Kansas City, you can ride as far as you want. It really is, for those around the country, a well-kept secret. For cyclists here in town, they know it. But if you're listening outside of St. Louis and you're a bike rider, come on in and ride the Katy Trail sometime.
The weather was perfect this weekend, too. It felt like fall.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know if it was just a little teaser. I think it is.
I think we get back to the high 80s, but we don't get to 90 again, at least as far as my phone tells. So let me check second alert weather here.
Okay,
Make
yes,
sure. I don't think we have a 90-degree day on the way. So just double checking.
This is why we're second alert. It just takes us a minute to get going here.
We don't have another 90. Oh, yeah, we have a 93 on Thursday, but then Friday, 89, Saturday, 86 and perfect, Sunday, 82 and perfect, Monday, Randy's birthday, 85 and perfect, so it should be good.
Oh, Randy Palooza is right around the corner.
You think? We'll see.
Number 2.
Number 2 for me will be, finally, we've been talking about it forever, Creed was in town this weekend over at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater.
Did you sing along?
I did.
Okay,
I sent you guys a video.
It was great, yeah. Can we let the masses?
No.
Just one line?
It's so bad, though. Randy,
awesome.
I'm a terrible singer.
But that part, you're awesome.
Can you take me higher? And he sounded way better than that. But he sounded just like he did on the album, which I don't think kids say anymore, so I'm dating myself a little bit. But what a great performance it was over at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. As I mentioned, the weather was perfect. It felt like fall outside. It wasn't hot. The crowd was huge. I'm sure some people could text in who were there this past weekend then they can talk about it as well. I mean, it was a huge event. I mean, there was people lined up you couldn't even see the lawn because there were so many people. It was a great performance. They did a wonderful job, so I enjoyed it.
That's very cool. I'm glad you got a chance to see them because you sing that line. You don't sing it a lot, but you have been singing it for a long time.
It just sticks with you.
I'm very entertained by it.
And I shared it with you. There was people crying, Randy. I mean, it was an emotional moment.
I didn't realize people were that into Creed, but good for them.
Yeah.
And the huge crowd, too. That's great.
It was huge.
Hope you won some tickets from us here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, my number 2, going back to the Olympics, we have had such a rare and unique opportunity to watch LeBron James' career. And we probably saw the end of his Olympic career. But to see a 39-year-old who's a dominant player prove himself again to be the best player in the world. These are the best players in the world, and he was the best player of all of these best players in the world. I feel very fortunate that I've had the opportunity to watch his entire career. Do I think he's the best ever? No, I think Michael was. But from a physical standpoint, there's nobody even close to LeBron. Being 6'8" and 265 and doing what he's doing from the age of 30 on is absolutely extraordinary. And for him to play the way he did, and he never led the team in scoring in the 6 Olympic Games, but he was clearly the best player every time out. And I feel fortunate that I've had the opportunity to watch his career.
I mean, gold medals in multiple decades that he's been able to dominate. And the fact that he is 39 years old, about to be 40, and still playing at that level, it's incredible. It's
amazing. And does he will a team to victory like Michael did? No. But physically, is he just absolutely extraordinary? Katie and I, my daughter and I, watched the games, and there were so many times where he would drive the lane, and we go, "Oh!" We're sitting in our living room, and we're screaming and reacting to what he did physically because it's just unbelievable. He sees an opening and he flies through the lane to the hole. It was unbelievable, and it was really fun to watch.
Number 1 for me. Number one. I'm going back to the Olympics because I want to highlight specifically the females at the Olympics. So the U.S. women, their 26 gold medals are the most by a women's team in single Olympics history. So Team USA women accounted for 65% of the country's gold medals. It was just so incredible to see the dominance from Team USA, as we mentioned, but also the U.S. women and what they were able to do for this Olympics.
Fantastic. The women's basketball team was great. Our
gymnastics, running, yes.
How about the 4x400 the other day?
Oh, my gosh.
You talk about they had to, well, they won by a quarter of a track. They literally looked like Secretariat in the Belmont in 1973.
I also I like that you bring up the 4x100 because in contrast, the men bumbled it again. How do you keep screwing up the handoffs? It's your one job.
The handoffs make me so nervous, though, and they make it look easy, at least on the women's side they did.
And yes. That was another amazing thing about the women's 4x4 is that their number 2 runner was a hurdler who that wasn't her job, was to run the second leg. But they handled the handoff perfectly, and all of them pulled away from the competition. It was sensational. I loved it.
It is. I mean, I can't get enough of it. And just the stories. I mean, Gabby Thomas, her story of, I mean, she is so smart, like Harvard educated. Did you see all that?
She's so fun. Yeah. And obviously the women's gymnastics, it happened last week, but still to see their continued dominance was really fun. I love watching the women perform at the Olympics. It's just sensational. Brooke, my number 1, we all like to see good people succeed, and especially when they faced adversity. And I don't know that a recent good Cardinal has faced as much adversity as Michael Walker did with the shoulder separation. He had it wasn't a shoulder separation. It was a bone issue where he had actually a broken shoulder bone, and that kind of ended his career with the Cardinals. But man, he has been good for the last few years with the Padres and now with the Royals with Cheese. And it was good to see him, even though it was against the Cardinals, to see him perform the way he did the other night. And he looked like the old Michael Walker, and I'm really happy to see that because in addition to being a really good pitcher, Michael Walker's a really good human being, and I love seeing him succeed right now.
He really is. He's such a nice person. Married a St. Louisan, by the way, and a great guy. I think he wanted to return to St. Louis actually this offseason, but it didn't work out. So I'm glad to see him doing well.
So, and I hope he gets an opportunity to participate in the playoffs. I kind of think the Royals are going to make the playoffs. By the way, after this series, for the Cardinals after the series against Cincinnati. 21 straight games against teams that would be in the playoffs today.
Wow.
Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, some people pointed out, don't forget women's soccer. You have to mention women's soccer.
Fantastic.
Valerie Swanson.
Yeah, sensational. Dansby's wife, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were great. So, congratulations to all of the U.S. women that did so much. And by the way, even the local, not even, but the local people that had their success. Some medaled, some didn't, but we still really appreciate their participation and representing the St. Louis area. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, is this the best men's team, capital TEAM, that the USA has had? And what was the favorite moment of the Olympics? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, guys, if you aren't feeling it this morning, if you already woke up, well, if you woke up, you're listening, right? If you're listening, you woke up. But if you just are not feeling energetic, if you aren't feeling like yourself, if you aren't feeling like you did when you were in your 20s and you feel like, I just didn't get enough sleep, but you got 7 or 8 hours, you should check out Mentality because, guys, as we pass our 30th birthday, we naturally lose energy because we naturally lose testosterone. And what Mentality does is checks your testosterone level, and if it's low, and inevitably it will be because you're beyond your 30th birthday, they have an FDA-approved testosterone treatment that will restore your testosterone level and restore your energy, and it'll get rid of some of that anxiety that you're dealing with. And if you have low energy, low motivation, Mentality can solve those problems. They have 2 wonderful clinics in Chesterfield and in South County. They have fantastic doctors and nurses that will describe the process for you, and they'll restore that energy, and you'll feel great. Start at lowtusa.com. Know that they'll work with your insurance company to keep your out-of-pocket expenses as low as possible, and know that you can get that energy level back with Mentality at lowtusa.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals split their two-game series against the Royals 8-5 on Friday, and then 8-3, a loss on Saturday. Nothing on Sunday. They will be back in action today as they start a three-game series facing off against the Cincinnati Reds. Sonny Gray will be on the bump for the Cardinals today. Over the weekend, there was some big news, of course, in the Olympics with the United States men's basketball teams, both of them, the women's and the men's, taking gold over the French teams, and in Leagues Cup action for St. Louis City over the weekend. On Friday, they took down the Portland Timbers 3-1. They will now face off against Club America tomorrow evening in the round of 16. Late game there, 9:30 start. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Back to Curry, dancing on Batum, over the double team. Oh! It's a golden dagger! Night. Curry, unconscious in the fourth. Davis with a rebound. Up ahead for Booker, exclamation point. He's a bad boy. Night. 8 threes for Curry. He has sent the French crowd into a frenzy they will never forget.
27-year-old Noah Eagle did a fantastic job on the basketball play-by-play at the Olympics. So did Dwayne Wade. They just made it fun, and it was a great tournament for the USA. Brooke, we heard last week Charles Barkley talking about how Steve Kerr wasn't doing a good job of coaching and making substitutions. What Barkley thought that he should do is what Chuck Daly did and just have waves of 5 players. And that was easy to do in 1992 when you only had 3 other NBA players in the Olympics. Now you have 62 other NBA players in the Olympics. You have good coaching, and you do have to set up a team. I really thought that in terms of just being a unit, that this group was the best put together team, in capital letters, that the USA has had. And they weren't redundant. Very rarely, not rarely, but it wasn't throughout the Olympics that you had Durant and James on the floor together. You didn't have the same player. You had a 4 in AD. You either had Bam or Embiid. You had LeBron or Durant. You had Steph Curry playing the point, and then Booker was your shooting guard, and you had a real group of players. And that's one of the reasons that Jason Tatum didn't get as much time as we would have liked, is because he played the same position as 2 of the superstars. But I thought that this team was really set up and carefully curated so that when they played Serbia, they could play a certain group of players and beat them. When they played France, they could play a certain group of players and beat them. When they played South Sudan, Embiid sat, and they could have a certain group of players to beat them. I really thought that from the standpoint of TEAM, that this was the best group that the USA has had.
It's a super team. And I think to your point, too, of what you brought up with Jason Tatum, one, the fact that Jason Tatum didn't even play that many minutes, and we also saw him sat out during the majority of the entire play. I think that says a lot about how talented this group is, that you didn't even have to utilize him, a player who just came off an NBA championship. I would have liked to see Jason Tatum more, but to your point, I understand what Kerr was doing there. Also, this could be the end for players that we were talking about in that last segment of Kevin Durant. This will be the end for him. If you're talking about Steph Curry, for their dominant Olympic run. And this group in general, I think, was tested more than some of the other teams have been before. To your point about 62 NBA players that we saw during these Olympic Games, I think that shows you that this was a very challenged team. And this year's version of Team USA had the greatest shooter of all time, one of the greatest shooters of all time, I guess I should say.
He's the greatest ever.
I mean, the 36 points in Serbia, I think that really shows you how dominant that he was, and arguably the greatest player of all time. And LeBron James, the fact that he's 39 years old and still able to do what he's doing. And Kevin Durant, I don't know if we gave him enough credit for what he was able to do too. Arguably the best scoring forward in NBA history, one of the best in NBA history. And he was huge during the Olympics for Team USA too.
Did you see the Tyrese Halliburton tweet the other day?
Where he just kind of was like...
He's holding his medal, and he said... Just like a group project in high school, didn't do nothing, still got an A.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the thing, though, is that this is the last ride for that group, that core of players that have been playing together for so long in the Olympics.
All right, so I know that we both have a lot of parts of this, and Matthew, I want you to weigh in here too. Our favorite moments. I've got a couple that stand out. Number one is a non-on-court or field moment, and it's Steph Curry going out in the street and dancing after the gold medal win on Saturday.
I like that. They had a lot of fun afterwards. I also want to give some credit to the U.S. women's basketball team and their dominance. 61 wins, 8 straight gold medals, and if you watch that game against France, it really wasn't a great game, of course, for Team USA. They shot 34% from the floor and 17% from the three-point range, but still a win is a win and a gold medal is a gold medal. But Taurasi, that will be her last run, and her dominance over the years for Team USA, I want to give a lot of credit for them. And I think one of my favorite moments, because everybody knows the history between Sabrina Ionescu and with Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you saw at the end where Kobe Bryant's family was there to watch the U.S. women's basketball team, and when they won gold, Sabrina went over and celebrated with his family.
That's so cool. That's great.
Kobe was very close with Sabrina and was a huge mentor to her. He admired her a lot, so that was a special moment.
Yeah, and how about the men winning on 8-10-24? Kobe's 2 numbers with the Lakers and his Olympic number.
Yeah, it felt like the stars aligned. There were so many great stories. I think another one of my favorite moments from the Olympics is for the U.S. men's gymnastics team, for them to be able to medal for the first time, I believe, since 2008, that they were able to do that. And you had that story with Steven Nedorosik, remember that I told you guys?
Come on,
yeah,
you just call him
pommel
that.
horse guy. But he's much more than that. When he was able to come in, he was just a pommel horse specialist. I think that was one of the coolest stories, because U.S. men's gymnastics has kind of declined in popularity, especially on the college level. And that's something that he talked about, is that he hoped by that performance and for them medaling for the first time in so long that it will help build back up college programs across the nation.
The other thing that'll stick in my mind's eye, I'm sure forever, will be the dominance of that 4x400 women's race and how far ahead they were, not only at the end, but after the second leg, after the third leg, after the fourth leg. Their dominance was breathtaking. So that was another of my favorite moments. Matthew, how about you? Did you have favorite moments of the Olympics?
I mean, yeah, the Curry thing was awesome. The best part about it was if you saw people eventually they translated the French call for it, and the French call after when he hit the 3 when Noah Eagle called it the golden shot,
golden dagger.
It was they said the French call was, "This devil named Curry is cooking us," and that is just the best thing that came out of this entire Olympics. I mean, obviously the dominance in a lot of the women's sports. I was going to say that in the opening thing. I was glad you used that as one of your big things. Is the women taking home 26 of the 40 golds that the United States men's national team did win. That was pretty impressive. I mean, the pommel horse moments, a lot of the gymnastics moments were incredible. And I think the biggest gymnastics win is going to be when the United States collectively dunks all over the IOC for trying to take Jordan Childs' bronze and completely fails to do so. You absolute weirdos. You're going to lose that fight. She's going to keep that bronze, and we're going to keep on winning the Olympics, so suck it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's such a weird situation, but yeah, gymnastics, never get tired of seeing Simone Biles and watching her. Katie Ledecky and her dominance. I mean, seeing her finish and how far behind everybody else was. Somebody from the 618 said Snoop Dogg was the MVP of the Olympics. Did you guys like that they added a lot more of those kind of personalities to the Olympics?
They were paying him $500,000 a day.
I didn't know if that was real or not.
Yeah, NBC, because he's on the Voice now. They're promoting the Voice. He was making $500,000 a day to be there.
I blanked on this. My favorite thing might have honestly been the entire story of Flavor Flav, especially because it closes out with yesterday. He goes, "Don't worry, Jordan Childs. I'm going to make you a bronze medallion clock that no one else in the world has and no one's ever going to be able to take away from you." And I'm like, yep, he's my favorite. Flavor Flav's the best. He's too pure for this world. I love it.
Pretty cool. It was a lot of fun, and we hope you enjoyed it. And the next Olympics, the next Summer Olympics, 2028 in Los Angeles. That'll be a lot of fun. Brooke, Matthew, and Randy, we've got Take It or Leave It coming up. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. If you want to participate in Tioli, it's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here for Universal Windows Direct. The heat has arrived and it is still sticking around for a while, so do not cool off the outside this year. Go call my guys over at Universal Windows Direct. While we're excited for it to be warm outside, it's my favorite time of the year when it is warm outside. I'm never excited to see that energy bill that comes with it, and that's where Universal comes in handy. Their windows actually can make a difference, and here's how. Their windows feature super spacer technology, which helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and makes your windows last up to 5 times longer than other Windows systems. So your windows from Universal perform better and they last longer. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 for free, plus 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Restrictions apply. Universal Windows Direct backs it all up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Mention my name and you get an additional $250 off your next project. Go to UWD.com. That's UWD.com. And like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, set it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Time for Tioli here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Matthew, and Randy. And Brooke, I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday morning, Devin Booker was seen leaving a Paris nightclub, 6 in the morning, on a bicycle. Take it or leave it. Devin Booker must have had more fun than anybody else in Paris on Saturday night.
Well, yeah, I'll take it. You can argue leave it just for the fact of that he was still capable of leaving on a bicycle.
Yeah.
If you're talking about having the most fun out of anybody.
It looked like he was wearing his Team USA 2024 letter jacket. So he wanted everybody to know exactly who he was.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of fun afterwards. I also saw somewhere that some of the Team USA athletes, like there were other athletes in other countries where they could go celebrate, during competition, but Team USA athletes had to wait till afterwards because there's stricter rules. I don't know if that is correct or not. I know I saw that somewhere, but I think that's interesting. They just had to let it all loose then. Yeah, I mean, when you win gold, you're going to go celebrate hard, right?
Yeah, and he was wearing his gold medal as he went partying.
I would wear that everywhere. I'd be annoying.
Yeah, he was. I would too. He was wearing it around the neck, signing autographs for everybody.
I love that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I like when you stop and sign autographs for people.
Very nice.
And not deny them. All right. So you win some and you lose some when it comes to trades. And I know that we always like to do this, but I think we have to talk about this one. Nick Robertson was DFA'd this past weekend, and he posted a 7.48 ERA in Memphis. Victor Santos lost his rotation spot twice and has a 6.11 ERA, and also in AAA Memphis. Take it or leave it, the Red Sox won the Tyler O'Neill trade.
Brooke, I'm going to leave this. because I don't think that Tyler O'Neill would have performed at that level here. And I'm not so sure he would have even played. And by the way, he just didn't get along with the skipper. I think they had a less than stellar relationship. I don't think that Tyler O'Neill would have been a good, cohesive part of this unit.
And I think he just went on his third IL stint, so it's not like the injuries disappeared for him when he moved to a different city. But on the year, he does have 22 home runs and is hitting 268. So that bat would have been nice to have in your outfield. It's just that he wouldn't have stayed healthy enough.
The thing is, he's restored his value. But when the Cardinals traded him, his value was low because he basically missed all of last season.
Yeah, I think to your point, on while I will leave it as well, is that relationship was done.
Yeah.
And I think not just with Ollie, but arbitration, I think, really wore him down and his viewpoint on things. We hear that. We heard so many other players, not just with the Cardinals. This isn't just a Cardinals issue, but across Major League Baseball, where players have an issue with how arbitration goes and how it really sours their relationship and view on the organization they're with.
Yeah. When Dellin Betances of the Yankees went into arbitration and was at the hearing, the president, Randy Levine, called him Dylan. It was Dellin. The president of the team called him Dylan throughout the process. And isn't that interesting? Their relationship was never the same. He couldn't wait to get out of there because the president of the team essentially said, yeah, we don't even know your name.
Do you think he did that on purpose to mess with his mind?
I think he did, yeah.
Ooh.
And you don't want to mess with players' minds. They should be focused solely on playing good baseball. If I were a franchise, and I know that they like to play with their $15,000 or $20,000, which in the scheme of things shouldn't matter, I would never have a player go to arbitration. I would always come to an agreement with them.
But everybody does it is the thing, so how can you avoid it? Because it is a business at the end of the day, and from what I've heard from players is they go in being told that it won't be personal, and then everything's personal.
Yeah, every time it is.
Yeah.
And if you're the Cardinals, think about the fact that they wasted $31.5 million on Brett Cecil. Rather than wasting $31.5 million on Brett Cecil or any of the other wasted signings they've had, the Dexter Fowler signing or the Carpenter extension, the last Carpenter extension, why not just Andrew Miller? I could run down the list. But why not just have one of those players not be a member of your team and then decide, okay, for the next 10 years, next 20 years, I'm not going to go to arbitration with guys.
Yeah.
It seems simple.
It does, but it's a business.
It is. It's a business. Matthew, what do you got for us?
Take it or leave it. Alec Burleson is your starting first baseman for 2025.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to leave that.
Really? And we are discussing this later on the show if you're going to sign to an extension. So you're signing him to an extension, Paul Goldschmidt.
Yes, I am. I'm going to have him here. Maybe not, well, certainly not for $26 or $21 million. But yes, he's going to be here. And Burleson, I can put him in left. I can have Donovan at center. I can have Walker in right. There's a lot of different things I can do to make this work.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave it. I think Alec Burleson, maybe not this year, but could be, or next year. Maybe the year after could be.
And maybe Walker winds up being, I wonder who the better right fielder and the better first baseman are. I wonder, because we don't know about Jordan Walker at first. But I think you've got to consider that, don't you? 6'6" guy that's played the infield before and is athletic. I think you have to consider Jordan Walker at first also. And Burleson's turned into a pretty good outfielder.
Yes.
I give him a ton of credit.
You're taking it, though, aren't you, Rocky?
I'm taking it. And I was just going to comment on the Walker thing, which is third baseman, converted. I want the arm in right field.
That's reasonable.
That would be my only thought
I wonder
process.
whose arm is better. Burleson's got a great arm. I wonder whose is better, Walker.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I would just kind of on spec think it would be Walker's, but yeah, I could be wrong. Take it or leave it. A one-game Group of 5 playoff game on Conference Championship weekend would be the most popular game based on the new 12-team format. I guess make it a one-game playoff for the guaranteed Group of 5 conference champion spot.
That'd be interesting. Why not?
Make it a play on. Yeah. I think that team's probably going to be like 11-1. I say if they win their conference champion and they're like ranked 14, give them the spot. Why make them play another game? That's insane.
Money.
Well,
you're there you go. That's always the answer.
He didn't say take it or leave it. It would be the most popular game on that conference championship weekend. Yeah. I would leave that because it's always going to be the SEC or Big Ten. It's always going to be the most popular game that weekend.
But if you, I guess with the playoff, you go right from your conference championship game right into the playoffs the next week.
Because especially in the SEC and the Big Ten, there's probably always going to be a team that's like 7th overall in the country playing a top 3 team. And if the number 7th overall team wins, they make it, and the conference champion and the people who lose, who are number 2, are probably still in the playoff as well, but you just flipped their seeding around. So you're playing probably for a bye, essentially, consistently in the Big Ten and the SEC championship. That's a fascinating game every year.
Does a group of 5, is there a requirement that they have to be above 12th? Do we know? Because to me, the group of 5 team should always be the 12th seed.
No, they can be higher than 12.
But I mean, they could be higher, but should they ever be?
Yes.
How?
They play a good non-conference schedule.
Okay.
And if their conference has multiple ranked teams, and they beat those guys. If you run the table, if you're undefeated, and you, let's say you're in there's a second team that's a top 20 team in your conference.
Eye test. Will there be the lowest playoff team from the SEC, Big 10, Big 12 that wouldn't dominate the group of 5?
I wouldn't say so.
ACC.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
I think you could see some 10th.
Yeah, maybe
some 10th ranked group of 5 teams.
It just means more in the SEC.
Yeah, it does. By the way, I guess the top 4 seeds, so they could be 5 through whatever. But either way, they'll get smoked. Sorry, group of 5.
Damn, you are not in on the group of 5 shaking up college football, are you?
No, I'm not.
Fair enough.
But I'm glad they get a playoff opportunity to show everybody, if they are good, that they can do it. But the real facts of the matter are that, remember how good Cincinnati was a few years ago?
Yeah.
And they just got obliterated by Alabama.
Did they move conferences? They're not group of 5
They might be
anymore,
Big 12 now.
I think they're Big 12. Same thing with UCF. UCF is now...
Yeah, they're Big 12 also.
Big 12?
Did you see, by the way, Mizzou lost that wide receiver to, is it USF or UCF? The great wide receiver
UCF.
out of Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He, Boggs, right?
I think so.
He decommitted to Mizzou and now committed to UCF.
Wide receiver room's a little crowded.
Yeah, they have a lot
But Burton's not going to be there next year.
True.
But
a lot of
Wingo is.
Yeah, exactly. Take it or there you go. Take it or leave it. If you like spicy drinks, you belong on a watch list. Brooke, we've been building our case against you, our profile against you.
Why do you guys keep putting me in this
Do you like
situation?
spicy drinks?
Yes.
Oh, this person's got you nailed down as a sociopath.
You know, there's a lot of other texts on this text line that, don't portray me in that way, Rockio. So I see what you're doing here.
No,
you're telling me that you don't like a spicy margarita.
I'm not saying what I like. The question was take it or leave it. Should people who like spicy drinks be on a list? And then I happen to we haven't been putting you on lists for things lately.
If you're saying like a list, like maybe like a good list,
No,
a list of good people,
a watch list.
Then yeah, you can put me on that. But a spicy margarita is
like a black
always good. Always
licorice
hit.
kind of list.
Margaritas are Mexican, right? Or Latin American at least. Isn't their
Central
food generally spicy?
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you like spicy drinks, Randy?
I'm not a drinker, but I have no qualms with anybody who does like spicy drinks or sweet drinks or whatever drinks, poofy drinks. I have drinks that have little umbrellas in them. I will never complain about people having drinks that they like. For me, that's a very personal opinion, and I would never criticize anybody for what they eat or drink unless they eat liver.
Yeah, liver's hard. Apparently it's supposed to be really good for you.
Hannibal Lecter liked it.
You said something about a qualifier, and then you added a qualifier at the very end.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Take it or leave it. There will be a Cardinals pitcher who throws a complete game this season.
Leave that. No chance. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
Yeah.
It would have been
I would
Lance
love
Lynn,
to be
too.
proven wrong.
Yeah, me too. But they aren't. Ollie's not going to let anybody go over 110 pitches.
If it would have happened, it would have happened already. Is 100% the correct answer there? Because if it would have happened, it would have been
a while ago.
Mid-June one when they're like, we kind of used the bullpen too much here, but now now it's going to be, we can't use our starters too much and we can't use the bullpen too much because what if we make the playoffs?
Yep.
Is there a pitcher who's thrown over 110 pitches this season for the Cardinals?
I don't think there is.
In a game.
No, I don't believe there is for the Cardinals.
Why is that I guess I just don't, I'm still stuck on why is that always the magic number? I understand that there's definitely the eye test of certain games, but then there's been many times this season, and the Cardinals aren't the only one with this, where you see a pitcher rolling and they're at like maybe hovering around 100 pitches and they get pulled. I'm like, why is that 100 pitches always the marker that you have to pull a pitcher?
Yeah, it's because for some reason, I don't know why, baseball has determined that will keep pitchers healthy. but they all have Tommy John anyway. They never let Jack Flaherty go over 100 pitches and he messed up his arm.
There's no way that science kicks out 100 as the correct pitch count. It's 100% arbitrary because we live in a society that likes things that end in zeros, fives, and even numbers. That's what we like, tens and hundreds in this country. That's how we delineate things.
We live in a society.
Exactly. There's no way they actually did the numbers. They're actually 100 pitches is not arbitrarily the scientific number. No, it's completely arbitrary.
How about this with Tommy John? In 2023, there were more Tommy John surgeries among professional pitchers than in the entire decade of the 1990s.
That's incredible.
I don't know if you saw that the other day.
That's that max effort stuff.
Yep.
It's amazing. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thanks for your texts as well. Coming up next, is the Cardinals making the playoffs a plausible scenario as we sit here on August 12th? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Somebody. Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because it feels like I really join a community. I love going over to the West location, hanging out and having lunch there. Their buffalo chicken wrap with their sweet potato fries is amazing. And then I love playing tennis. That's a sport that I played my entire life. Scott has really helped me get back into the sport that I've enjoyed playing for so long, and it's also helped out my pickleball game. And I love working out over at their gym with Christine. She's my personal trainer. She has been fantastic. Their staff is always so kind and nice, and they always provide such a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
8:07 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. The Cardinals have won 4 of their last 10, and at the moment they're a game and a half behind Atlanta for the third and final wild card spot in the National League. By the way, the Diamondbacks and Padres have each won 8 of 10, and they're tied 4 games ahead of Atlanta for the first and second wild card spots. And then you've got a group of the Braves, the Mets a half game behind them, the Cardinals a game and a half behind Atlanta, the Giants tied with the Cardinals, and then the Cubs are only 3 games back in the wild card race, too, with the Reds. The Cardinals' opponent tonight, 4.5 behind. The Cardinals 7.5 behind Milwaukee for the National League Central title. And right now, the way the schedule shapes up, the Brewers have 55 games left. And if they would, or 45 games left, I'm sorry. If the Brewers would go 23-22 over their last 45, the Cardinals, in their remaining 44, would have to go 30-14 just to tie them. Brewers go 23-22. Cardinals would have to play better than .667 ball to tie. So, with the way things shape up in the National League Central, and with the way, Brooke, things shake up right now in the National League wild card race, is a Cardinal wild card spot plausible? Let me start with this. Can the Cardinals come back from 7.5 back behind Milwaukee?
It kind of seems like an impossible task, but you did mention last week, look at how quickly the division has changed. Now, the thing that's working against the Cardinals is how tough their schedule is. We talked about it. You have the Dodgers coming to town here soon, so it's not like things get easier for them. I think that we discussed this before, but isn't it like the 4th hardest schedule in all of Major League Baseball for the second half?
Third hardest.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even worse than I remembered it being. Yeah. So that's not great for the Cardinals in that regard. So when it comes to division, that seems like that's more out of reach. Now, you would want the home field advantage. While the Cardinals haven't exactly played their best at home, that's always something that you would want to get. It seems like the wild card, there's more options available, and that it's a shorter distance to be able to get a wild card spot. But the teams surrounding you are my concern, because those are teams that really added a lot of things at the trade deadline that really helped their team.
And the Cardinals are 2 games over 500. After this series against the Reds, they have 21 straight against the Dodgers, leading the National League West, Brewers leading the National League Central, Twins second place in the AL wild card, Padres first place in the National League wild card, at Yankees, and the Yankees at the moment are the number 1 team in the wild card in the American League. And after the Yankees, you go to Milwaukee, and then you get Seattle. They are not at the moment a wild card team. However, that could change by the time they get here, because they're 2.5 out of the wild card spot in the American League. So you've got 18 in a row against teams that are in the playoffs, and then 3 against Seattle. And then after that, by the way, it gets hopefully a little easier. You've got the Reds, you're at Toronto, you've got the Pirates here. Cleveland is not easy, and then at Colorado and at the Giants to close things out. If the Cardinals do somehow get hot, that series against San Francisco could be meaningful at the end of the season. I just think over the Cardinals' next 21 games, it's really hard for me to believe that they can be much over 500 in that stretch. I think making the playoffs is going to be really a prohibitive chore for the Cardinals.
I think so too, because we've discussed this over and over again, but you have to, of what is the strength of this team right now, and also what do you need to happen in order to make it to the playoffs. And I think the big key to me is that we've talked a lot about this bullpen, and we talked about some of the recent holes that we've seen in it, where obviously the usage in the first half of the season is starting to catch up with some of these guys like Fernandez, as we discussed earlier. But I think the key is that you need the key veterans to turn back the clock. I know that we've gone over this over and over again, but if the Cardinals are going to make the postseason, it's going to be about one thing, and I think it's offense. You need Paul Goldschmidt, you need Nolan Arenado, who have not played their typical all-star caliber seasons, to really get back to form in that way, and I think that's one of the keys. And I think that other guys too, like Alec Burleson, Donovan Wynn, they're continuing to step up. Tommy Pham stepping up. That's the key. And they also need to find a bit more of a way to add more slug to their game, which I think this is where some of those minor league players come in, because they are currently 21st in all Major League Baseball in homers, which kind of, if you've been watching the Cardinals game, you'd say, wow, that seems surprising considering they've won a lot of games with home runs, but they're 21st in the league right now when it comes to home runs.
And maybe the thing that they need to do is get Walker up here. And
that's where I was going with this.
Yeah, and even more so than Ivan Herrera. And then I guess the play would be to get Contreras behind the plate, get Walker in there, And at some point, you just got to, if he's here, he's got to play every day, which kind of knocks Newt out. I would think at this point, Newt's just not hitting well. And if I would rather have Pham against a right-handed hitter than Newt at this point.
Newt has been struggling since coming back from his injury.
Yeah.
And you've been saying that. And we've talked about Gorman a lot, too. There's some holes in this lineup. And offensively, it's going to have to come down to that. I know we can talk about pitching all day long, and it does matter. But you still need your offense to show up on a more consistent basis. We've talked a lot about RISP and those issues. I mean, if you're saying that this team makes the playoffs, Randy, you're saying they make it because of what?
I think that the starting pitching is going to have to kick back in and be awesome. You're going to have to get a lot of innings out of the starting pitching. And we just looked it up. The Cardinals have 9 performances this year of 100 or more pitches. At some point, as the manager, and you've played about 115 games, at some point, you got to let it rip. And this is the time where you just say, okay, we're in the stretch run. We're taking out the throttle now. Our pedal is to the metal. And if we need 120 out of a starting pitcher so that he can give us 7 innings, we're going to do that. Will that happen? Nope, not realistic at all. But if the Cardinals were going to win, what they need to do is get great work out of the starting pitching. The other night, we talked about Palante throwing 104 pitches. Get another inning, another 15 to 20 pitches out of Palante. Get him up to 100 pitches. Palante's young. He can throw a lot of pitches. So why not give him the opportunity to throw pitches? A few years ago, Adam Wainwright told Schulte, he said, look, I'm old. Abuse me. And I'm sure Kyle Gibson is the same way. Kyle Gibson has thrown more than 100 pitches once this season.
He's a workhorse.
Yeah, he wants to throw more than 100 pitches. So let him give you that extra inning so that bullpen that you referenced gets a little bit of rest. Because at some point now, Fernandez is a perfect example. We saw it with Yo-Yo for a while. Guys get exposed, and that's where the bullpen is right now. It's exposed physically and in terms of just what hitters are seeing. They've seen a lot of that bullpen this year.
And with Ryan Helsley, we've also seen some trouble that he's run into. He makes the 9th inning a little bit nerve-wracking at times. He's able to get it done. He's excellent. But at the same time, you kind of wonder about his usage as well, because there's been so many tight games that you've had to put him in this season. That's why he leads the league when it comes to saves. But I think going back to the starting rotation, I'm with you. I would have let Palante go a little bit deeper in the game. I do think it's interesting, though. The Cardinals have lost the last 5 games that are started by Palante.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. And Miles Michaelis, we didn't talk about him. I know that they were able to get a win on Friday with him in there, but he's had some struggles here.
As you mentioned, I think we were off the air where you mentioned, Miles Michaelis is a perfect number 5 starter. But when he's your second or third starter, that becomes an issue. And I know he's provided a lot of quality starts. He does exactly what a 5th starter should do. The problem the Cardinals have is that they have multiples of 5th starters. We talked a lot heading into the deadline about how the Cardinals need a number 2. They needed a 5th starter. They didn't need a 5th starter. They needed a 2nd starter. And they got Eric Fetty, he's a number 2. They still don't have a number 1. But Fetty was a nice pickup for the Cardinals. But they need to get legitimate innings out of Michaelis when he comes back, Lynn, and Kyle Gibson.
Yeah. In his last 5 starts, Miles Michaelis has a 7.11 ERA.
That's not good. Not good enough. Hard to win divisions when you have a 7 ERA.
Yeah. You don't say. But I'm with you. I think you do. You need a lot more from the starting rotation moving forward.
That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up next, we're going to talk to the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber, here on 101 ESPN.
Hey, with the cooler weather over the last couple of days and over this great weekend that we just had, did you open your windows? Just shut that air conditioner off, let some of that great fresh air coming through the windows? Well, coming through those windows also is dust particles and other things. And you know what's working to keep your air clean in the house when you turn that air conditioner back on? Your air filter. How about a plan with Classic Air Care where you sign up with them and they'll make sure that you get fresh air filters once a month delivered to your house. And most of the time at a cheaper cost than you can get them at most other places. That's the kind of quality of service that Classic Air Care provides. Hey, if you've been having issues with that air conditioning unit lately, the one thing you want to make sure you do that if you're thinking of replacing it, now is the time to do it. The reason is government regulations are changing some of the mechanics of some of the units, and that means prices are going up as much as 10 to 15%. Put that all together, and it's time to give Classic Air Care a call, whether it's just simple air filters, whether it's just simple maintenance, or whether it's a whole new unit. Classic Air Care will take care of you. They've got a great 4.8 Google rating. You can check out all the reviews on their website at classicaircare.com, but contact them today. Get the process started. It's Classic Air Care, making people comfortable since 1926.
Brooke and Randy opening drive 101 ESPN, and you can join 101 ESPN for the second annual Blues and Brews on Friday night, September 20th at the brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from country music star Matt Stell and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, 101 ESPN giveaways, and more. It happens at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Tickets are just $20 on sale now. Learn more at 101ESPN.com. And one of the people you'll be able to see there is our own Chris Kerber, the voice of the Blues, who's with us now, as he is every Monday morning here on 101 ESPN. Good morning, Kerbs. How you doing?
Randy, I'm awesome. Hey, listen, that event last year, which was the first event we did with this, was just awesome. The backdrop of the brewery, the stage right into the crowd. So if you missed Blues and Brews last year, make sure that you don't miss it this year. It's a fun way to kind of kick off the year.
It really is, and it's a great event, and we advise people to get out there, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's one, you just kind of walking around the brewery grounds. You get the music. We've got some interaction with the players, other interaction opportunities as well with some games and things. The beer is obviously good. The music's going to be great. It's just an awesome night out.
Kerbs, here we are. We're a month away now from the start of training camp. Things happen in a hurry. I'm sure that you've had a chance to think about this. There's so much that's going to be intriguing about camp. You know what's most intriguing to me, though, is Dvorsky. I just can't wait to see him, and he's going to have a legit opportunity to be on that opening night roster, isn't he?
I agree with you, Randy. I think that's the one of the top, if not top three storylines of training camp. He's going to have an opportunity to make this team. And, you know, as a 19-year-old, he can come in here. I hope he makes it. When I consider where the St. Louis Blues are, I hope he shows enough to make it, because him getting a year of experience under his belt before Snuggerud gets here just staggers and kind of steps the experience level of these new kids coming in. So when Snuggerud will be in officially year one, Dvorsky would be in year two with a whole year pro behind his belt. I think there's a great opportunity for him to make this team. Will he be good enough? I don't know enough to know that. You know he's knocking on the door. If you read between the lines of what Doug Armstrong and management has said about him when asked, you know he's close to stepping in. And I think if he does, it's fascinating because, you know, they can go back to how the St. Louis Blues and Craig Berube used Robert Thomas. You know, it wasn't almost until basically year 3 into year 4 that he was a full-time centerman in the league. So the Blues have enough depth at center and the ability to even put Buchnevich in the middle if they want to, that kind of thing, and where they put Braden Shen. They've got the ability to get his beak wet, Dvorsky's, whether he be on the wing or in the middle, give him opportunities to get clobbered at the face-off, to learn more. Him working full-time with Steve Ott, and this is something that's not talked about enough. I don't know, like Steve Ott is one of the best face-off coaches in the National Hockey League, hands down. Mm-hmm. You saw what he did with Kevin Hayes. They made one little tweak to Kevin Hayes' game and faceoffs, and he had his best faceoff year that he had ever had. Him working a full year up at this level every practice with guys like Steve Ott, I think is enormous. So I'm with you. I think it's a great storyline, and I hope he makes it. It'll be exciting if he does.
Curbs, we spoke to JR last week, and he mentioned that Drew Bannister was going around the summer checking in with those players and just kind of checking in to see how they're doing. What does that tell you about how Drew Bannister is approaching this season?
Well, I think, Drew came in a very difficult spot, and I don't think we should overlook that. To come in and replace a guy that in, 5 years became a legendary coach for the team is not easy at all. He had relationships with guys that he had started to build. He had some with players that he had when they went through him in the minors, but the veterans did not. And on-the-job training is very difficult. Trying to communicate to players, get your own way, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you hit some bumps in the road. So he's had a lot of communication last year, some meetings with guys to help build that. He's taken the time this summer, once he knew that he had the job, to get to know these guys, to communicate, to get on the same page with them even more. And I think that that's just time well spent and really important. So, he's not Craig Berube. He's Drew Bannister. He's his own guy. He's earned this opportunity just like a player going through the minors had. He's won at the different levels, at least in terms of getting just about every team he's coached at some point in time to a final in their respective leagues. He's earned this opportunity, and he's going about it in a way that he's comfortable with. I think it's a terrific sign for everybody.
Curbs, let's talk some soccer. What do you think about Tim Ream going to Charlotte?
I love it. You know what? You could kind of see the writing on the wall, when he wasn't starting a lot, and I know injury played a part in this, but wasn't starting a lot in the second half of last year with Fulham. Would I have loved to have seen him in St. Louis? Yes. Do I still hope that happens? And Randy, I hope, the one thing for me in soccer is I get to actually be a fan, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so unlike the other sports where you're digging in, too much. This, I just love being a fan, and I became a fan of Fulham because of Jim Woodcock and then watching Tim Ream, and I've loved it and getting to know Tim a little bit. Him coming back to the United States with his family, I think, is fantastic. If you go back and watch the video, he says he still thinks he's got a couple of years left. So the hope of him coming maybe back to St. Louis isn't is possible. I think that would be really, really cool. And man, this guy for 10 years, in Fulham, helped them get promoted, 3 different times, to the resurgence to become the veteran presence and leader on a U.S. men's national team. I thought it's just been an outstanding career, and I love the fact that he's there. Now, we don't see Charlotte here in St. Louis this year, so we'll see what happens down the road. But I was bummed that he's not wearing the Fulham shirt, but I'm cool. I'm thrilled that he's at MLS and we can watch him play here in the States.
Curbs, not only are you a soccer fan, but you're also a baseball and Cardinals fan. How are you feeling about the Cardinals right now and their playoff chances?
Man, I'm feeling the same way I felt at the beginning of the year. I'll look at it when it's over. I just don't. I think you see some of the promise of some of the young guys. I still think you see the confusing aspects of what happened with Jordan Walker. Why some of these supposed can't miss prospects have been missing. Why there is still such amazing inconsistency. You got to be really concerned about the strikeout rate of Nolan Gorman and things like that. There's a lot of question marks. I still think they still have a chance to make the playoffs. The fact that, once again, at least they're playing meaningful games, it helps that the playoffs have been expanded. But it's one of those things, guys, where I can sit down and just enjoy watching the team play, enjoy the game of baseball. Without a whole lot of stress, because I don't have high expectations, and I'm not living and dying on those expectations. I'm just enjoying the game, and if they make it, this year's a bonus because I really didn't think they would. So that's kind of my approach at it, if that makes any sense.
It does. Curbs, always good to hear your voice. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have a great week, and we will see you soon.
Okay, guys. Have an awesome week. Cheers.
You too. That's the voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN, the one and the only Chris Kerber. Great to have him with us. Matthew, do we need a fighter today? Did I lose on Friday?
No.
Did you lose on Friday?
No. Come on.
It was you guys went to a tiebreaker issue. Okay, so we got another fighter coming up. Here we go.
All right, let's do it. We've got a fight coming your way. If you want to participate, text in 314-399-9646, 314-399 YO-HO. And maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals split with the Royals over the weekend, an 8-5 win on Friday and an 8-3 loss on Saturday. They were off on Sunday. They will be back in action tonight, starting a 3-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. Sonny Gray faces off against the lefty for the Reds, Andrew Abbott. Abbott on the season, 9-9 with a 3.70 ERA. He's also tied with Austin Gomber for the NL lead with 24 home runs allowed this season. Also over the weekend in the League's Cup, St. Louis City SC over the Portland Timbers, 3-1. They will be moving on to the round of 16, and they'll be playing tomorrow as they face off against Club America from Carson for a late game. 9:30 is your kickoff there for your St. Louis City SC. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American heating and air conditioning dealer.
to the opening drive. Brooke, Randy, and Rocco here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Chase. Chase, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How about you guys?
We're doing great. Is this your first time facing Randy in the fight?
It is. Long-time listener, first-time fighter.
Ooh, but I'm sure you've been playing along in your car, right?
Maybe a little bit.
Are you nervous, excited, scared?
I mean, anybody going up against Randy has to be a little bit nervous, but I'm super excited as well.
All right. Well, we'll see how this goes for you today, Chase. Are you ready for question number 1?
Let's do it.
Only 2 Cardinals took home multiple MVP awards while playing for St. Louis: Albert Pujols and who else? Is it Stan Musial, Jim Bottomley, or Bob Gibson?
Let's go with Bob Gibson. Final answer.
All right, following his absence from baseball in the 1970 season, Curt Flood played one final year in 1971 for which American League club? Was it the Washington Senators, the California Angels, or the Oakland Athletics?
Let's go with the California Angels. Final answer.
All right, question number 3, Chase. Going by total gold medals with silver as the tiebreaker, which was the last country to beat the United States in the Summer Olympics? Was it China, Russia, or Great Britain?
Great Britain. Final answer.
The United States men's basketball team has now won 8 of the last 9 gold medals over the last 22 years since the 92 Dream Team. Who has the other, it should be 32 years, my apologies there, since the 92 Dream Team, who has the other gold in those last 9 shots? Is that Argentina, Spain, or Italy?
Oh, let's go with Argentina. Final answer.
All right, we'll double check the score and bring in Randy Karraker.
How are you feeling, Chase?
Not great.
No? Was there something in particular that you were hoping for? Baseball, hockey, not Olympics?
Baseball, but I think I jacked that Curt Flood question up. So after I said the answer, I went, ooh, but that's all right.
It's okay. All right. Randy is back in the studio now with his grapes. He has a giant bag of grapes he has prepared for the week.
For the whole week.
Yeah, the entire week, that's for sure, with that big bag of grapes. So say hi to Chase.
Chase, good morning. How you doing?
Good, Randy. I haven't seen you since Big League Impact karaoke night at Dave & Buster's.
Oh, that was fun. That was great. BT stole the show, didn't he?
He did. I was actually the one that sang on stage with Adam Wainwright, Sweet Caroline.
You were great. So, and that's where we knew Adam could sing too, right?
Oh.
That's when we figured it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's a good singer.
Chase, is that your go-to karaoke song?
No, that was actually a pick by Adam Wainwright, shockingly enough, being a Boston song.
Right, exactly.
Are you ready for question number 1, Randy?
Ready.
Only 2 Cardinals took home multiple MVP awards while playing for St. Louis: Albert Pujols and who else?
I believe Stanley Frank Musial might have won 3 as well, just like Albert did. I will go with Stan the Mang.
Randy, following his absence from baseball in 1970, Curt Flood played one final season in 1971 for which American League club?
I believe he played for Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Washington Nationals. Yeah.
They were the Nationals back then?
Yes, sir. And then moved to Texas. Became the Texas Rangers, I believe.
Ready for number 3?
Ready.
Going by total gold medals with silver as a tiebreaker, which was the last country to beat the United States in the Summer Olympics?
I'm going to go with Russia/USSR. I will go with that one.
And the United States men's basketball team has now won 8 of the last 9 gold medals over the last 32 years since the 92 Dream Team. Who has the other gold?
This was 2004. Who did we lose to? We got bronze. I'll do the lifeline here. It might spark a... I think it might start with an A, but I'll go with whatever. Might have been Argentina, but let's do the lifeline.
Argentina, Spain, or Italy?
I'm going to go with Argentina, just because I don't want to cry. Don't cry for me, Argentina. What? What's wrong, Brooke?
I wish you would have karaoke did that song.
I will do Argentina.
All right, we have a winner in today's fight. Randy Karraker coming back from the weekend. Does he walk away with a victory, or does Chase take him down in his first shot at the champ? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Karraker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just win, baby.
I'm sorry, Chase. Randy Karraker takes you down 3-1 today.
Oh,
It's kind of to be expected.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's go through the questions and answers. Only 2 Cardinals took home multiple MVP awards while playing for St. Louis. It is Albert Pujols and Stan Musial, both winning 3 across their career. Following his absence from baseball in 1970, I wonder why. Kurt Flood played one final season in Major League Baseball in 1971. It was for Washington. They were the Senators still back then.
yeah, they were.
You had me double checking that one whenever you did.
Yeah, did I say Nationals?
You did say Nationals, and I was like, son of a, I think I got that wrong.
Senators, yeah.
Yes, it was. Happy birthday to Kurt Flood, by the way. Going by total gold medals with silver as the tiebreaker, the last country to beat the United States in their home country when they hosted it. It was Beijing in the 2008 Summer Olympics. They took down the United States in gold medals and with silver. Yeah, a little home brewing there. The United States, when has communism ever cheated? The United States men's national basketball team has now won 8 of the last 9 gold medals over the last 32 years since the 92 Dream Team. Randy, you hit it right on the nose there. 2004, they stumbled. They lost to Argentina. Argentina would go on to beat Italy in the gold medal game. It would finish Italy. It would finish Argentina, Italy, and then the United States would take home a bronze medal that would shock the nation, but unshocking.
Since then, for us, Argentina, don't cry for us. We're good.
Oh my gosh!
By the way, fun thing is looking at the Summer Olympics, because we don't lose the Summer Olympics, ladies and gentlemen. The Soviet Union got us there for a little bit, and obviously some sketchy things went down in '36 when they were in Germany. But nonetheless, other than that, it's been 120. It's been 120 clean years. I'm specifically with the Olympics. 120 just sweeping years for the United States, just dominating the Summer Olympics. The Winter Olympics, I don't want to talk about. It's less fun to look at that one.
Yeah,
freaking Norway. Like Norway comes in there and beats us every once in a while.
Dan Jansen. We had who was the other speed skater we had? This was before your time. I really
Paulo Antoine Ono?
He was a good one. We had another guy before Dan Jansen that was really good.
Not a speed skater, but what about Shaun White?
Oh yeah, the Flying Tomato, right?
Yeah.
Bonnie Blair.
Remember when he got in trouble during that interview that he did where he was talking about celebrating and he was talking about drinking, and then he corrected himself. He's like, drinking Mountain Dew. Yeah. He was underage.
It's less like Bald Eagle, like Squawks when you bring up the Olympic medal total for the Winter Olympics. It's like okay, fine. But the Summer Olympics, I mean, it's like there's a band playing behind whenever I look at the total medal count.
And that's
we just
what
dominate
matters.
those fools.
Did we say bye to Chase? Bye, Chase.
Bye, Chase.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Chase.
Thank you.
Love you.
And go to karaoke song for everybody in here. I need to know that.
Go-to karaoke song. It's Oceanfront Property. George Strait. I picked a country song.
Oceanfront Property.
I got some oceanfront property in Arizona.
That's a throwback.
It is, big time.
Of course, with George Strait, it would be a throwback, but that's a good one. Mine would be Wagon Wheel.
I think, that's a good one, too. I think George Strait just set the record this summer for the largest indoor concert crowd ever. Might have been at AT&T Stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me check it here. Talk amongst yourselves.
What is yours, Rockyo? You didn't weigh in.
I'm not a big karaoke guy, but I like a good rendition of Friends in Low Places.
That's a good one.
Another good one.
That's a crowd pleaser. You always have to go with a crowd pleaser. You can't pick one that people will not understand or help sing along with.
Mr. Brightside, if I got to go something more contemporary.
Oh, that's good too.
George Strait had 110,905 people at AT&T Stadium. New U.S. concert attendance record broken. It broke a record that the Grateful Dead had set in 1977.
Oh, this is a good one from the 636. Take on Me. That was the entrance song that Dave and I picked for our wedding when we came out for the reception.
You can't pick Take on Me.
Why? It's such a good song.
Because no human being who's singing at karaoke can hit the note.
That's where the crowd joins in and helps lift you up.
Never pick a song that has a note like that.
I think that was fun.
Well, we're not picking Mariah Carey over here.
Some people
I'm glad
do.
that nobody
My
picked
point
that.
is, some people do is my point. That's the problem.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, should the Cardinals bring Paul Goldschmidt back? There's a chance and a reason there might be that move. Next on 101 ESPN. At some point, if you own a home, you're going to have to sell it. And if you're thinking about selling your home, check this out. A guy here in St. Louis, Michael, and his family interviewed several agents, but none of them guaranteed their price. Gloria Lou guaranteed his desired price and ultimately ended up getting him more money. Plus, Michael was able to pick his closing date. Gloria Lou knows everything about home selling and how to get you the best situation and the best price. Gloria's name is her promise and says it all. Your home sold, guaranteed realty. Gloria's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, and that's guaranteed. Does your agent compare? Gloria has solutions for every type of home seller. For those of you who want a fast sale with no hassles, Gloria's multiple cash offer program is a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date, just like Michael and his family did. You always get the highest cash offer to choose from in minutes from Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasABuyers.com. As always, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. To learn more, visit GloriaHasABuyers.com. Baseman Paul Goldschmidt is hit 5 home runs in his last 19 games. He's heated up a little bit, has 18 on the season. He's third on the team in home runs. Brooke, if Goldie stays hot and leads the team, let's say with 25 homers, let's say in the last 44 games that he would hit 7 more homers and wind up with 50 extra base hits. Does that color your thoughts about bringing him back, even if what he does produce comes in the second half of the season and primarily in the last 2 months of the season? Does it matter to you when he puts up numbers, if he puts up numbers?
At this point, I think that the Cardinals thing and what they will do is bring him back next year. I don't even know if it's about what we think or want or what even happens this season, unless there was some injury or Paul Goldschmidt does not want to return, because Derek Gould had the report that they are going to approach him here soon about re-signing this offseason. So I think they want to retain him for next year. Now, what will that look like? That's not what I'm sure of. I'm guessing it will be something similar to what they did with Adam Wainwright, but I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back. I don't know, though, if it is the right or wrong thing to do in this situation. He's
making $26 million this year. The maximum cut that you can give a player in terms of before he gets into free agency is 20%. So if the Cardinals would re-sign him before he got to free agency, he would have to make a minimum of $21 million for 2025. I don't believe that the Cardinals should or want to go there. So let him get into free agency. If he'll come back for a deal for $6, $8, maybe $10 million, loaded with incentives that can get him back to 26 or 27 next year, I think that would be palatable. But if the guy has 50 extra base hits, and now he's got 36 now, he could very easily wind up with 50 extra base hits and 25 home runs. That's a pretty productive player. I would think, Brooke, that there are probably teams out there that with his leadership, his perceived leadership, let's put it that way, his defense, which is still of Gold Glove quality, and 50 extra base hits, I bet you there's teams out there that would be interested in a guy like Goldie.
No, 100%, but it doesn't seem like that. His career's coming to an end, right?
Yep.
So I'm sure that he would want to be somewhere where he could just close things out, where he's not traveling as much. You know what I mean? Because he's already built a home here in St. Louis. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to come back. Now, defensively, you bring up a good point, because the connection that we've seen, one with him and Nolan, but also now Mason Wynn, I think that provides a lot of value. But offensively, we started seeing that decline from Paul Goldschmidt, not just this season, but a carryover from last year too. And you have a lot of holes in this lineup. But we've talked about this all year, about the passing of the torch. At what point do the Cardinals start passing the torch completely over to some of these younger guys? Of course, you need to have some veterans in that room. We saw last season, Nolan Arenado said it, there was too many young guys in the clubhouse. So what did they do? They went and got more veteran leadership. You added more veteran leadership at the trade deadline with Tommy Pham. But at what point do the younger guys start taking over, and who will be your first baseman of the future is my question.
And one of those two, between Walker and Burleson, it would seem, would be the guy. And you're 100% right. And from the Cardinals' perspective, they might not want to spend as much. And here's another part of this, is the Cardinals aren't the only team that's going to be interested. When his hometown team, the Houston Astros, this year, right now, have Joey Loperfido. Do you know, or Joey Loperfido? Do you know Joey Loperfido? I do not.
No.
He's hitting .210 with 2 homers and 16 RBIs. They're also using John Singleton at first. Remember, they spent a lot of money to get rid of Jose Abreu. And so John Singleton also plays first for them. He's hitting .234 with 9 homers and 29 RBIs. I would have to think that a team like the Astros would like the idea of bringing a guy like Paul Goldschmidt home. You let Goldie hit into those Crawford boxes, and he might hit next year 35 because of the ease with which you can hit home runs in that ballpark as opposed to this home ballpark. So I'm not so sure if he gets to free agency that there's not a team out there that would be more willing to spend on a player of Goldschmidt's ability and history.
I think, too, with the Cardinals and what they do is that they like to keep around those big veteran players. They do. They like to bring them back. So I wouldn't be surprised that even if the numbers are not still where you need them to be for Paul Goldschmidt, what we've seen, especially, I think it's safe to say he's not going to get back to his 2022 MVP form. I mean, he's declined, true. And age is a big factor in that. But they like to keep a lot of those veteran older players.
100%. You're 100% right.
And let them in their career there.
So what if you're the Cardinals and you go to him and say, hey, we'd love to get you into free agency. We love what you've done for us. We want you to be here, but we also want to pay for what you provide for us, not what you've provided 3 years ago. And his representatives say, no, if we go to free agency, we're going to open it up. We aren't going to sign with you for less than $21 million. So if $21 million is the price that his representatives lay down the law at, what do? Do you let him walk?
Ooh, I think you might have to. That's pretty expensive.
I would, too. I would let him walk at $21 million, too.
Sometimes you might have to take a discount.
Yep.
If you say that you want to stay for a team,
Yep.
and with the way that he's been doing, somebody from the 314 said completely fine with Burleson at first base next year. Say that situation happened that you just laid out. So would you be comfortable with Burleson being your first baseman moving forward?
Yes, but Jordan Walker has to be good. That's what you have to count on, is Walker being good. Now, the other thing you would want to do, I would think, is bring back Tommy Pham, so that if Walker isn't ready to go next year, that you have, because then you don't trade Newt Barr. You've got Scott, you've got Ciani, you've got Walker and Pham. So you would have a group. You wouldn't have that oomph that you'd like to have from what Goldie is capable of and what Walker, we hope, is capable of. But yeah, that'd be the chance you would have to take. And I'm with you. And I don't care about their money, but I look at it from the puzzle that is their built-in budget, their built-in salary cap, and it's probably not going to be as high next year as it is this year. And with all the arbitration that you have, and Gray going up, I think Gray goes from 10 to 25 next year.
Mm-hmm. You still have Steven Matz. You still have Michaelis on the books.
Yeah, and you may or may not have Lynn and or Kyle Gibson. So if I were running the Cardinals within that budget, I don't think I could do 21. I think I would have to look at that $8-10 million with incentives. And then if he does perform to the point where you give him $26 or $27 million, you're really happy about it because you got the production. But I think right now, if he gets to 50 extra base hits, 25 homers and 25 doubles, he's got 18 and 18 right now. I think that kind of might change my opinion as on the last day of the season.
So if, say he does do that, then does that even change your opinion of if he's wanting around that 20 million mark that you would still sign him?
I would really have to think about it.
Just for the second half of the season stats?
Yep. Yeah, because I'm somebody who, if he performs great in the second half of the season.
If they make the playoffs and he's a big part of that, then I think that's a different conversation.
But what if they don't make the playoffs, but it's not because of his lack of effectiveness in August and September?
And they're asking for $20 million?
Yeah.
I think you'd have to say no if you're the Cardinals, for money reasons.
What if he is a middle-of-the-lineup hitter for a team that scores 5 runs a game in the second half of August and September?
I think that's nice, but you still have seen the decline over the years.
But you have. I think it's a tough choice for them.
I think it is. It is. But I think, and that's why at the end of the day, I feel like I know what they're going to do in this situation because it's what they do every single year, right? They like to keep those players around. And I'm sure for Paul Goldschmidt, he's eyeing his Hall of Fame resume, and he still has some things that he needs to, have on that list.
And I wonder if that, and I don't know what, his agent will know what Houston's interest level is. But he'd have a much better chance of compiling numbers to get to the Hall of Fame in a home ballpark like Houston than he would in a home ballpark like St. Louis.
Yeah. From the 217, they should go full youth next season.
Well, you're going to have Arenado and you're going to have veteran pitching. You're going to have Gray and you're going to have Michaelis. You're going to have Helsley. I don't think that it's conceivable that the Cardinals can go full youth movement because their pitching staff is going to be older. They're one of the oldest teams in baseball right now. You'd have to really make a dramatic change to go full youth movement. But if your infield next year is Arenado, Wynn, Donovan, and either Walker or Burleson at first, and your catchers are Contreras and Pages, and then let's just assume that, Jordan, what we've seen from Walker in August is real from Walker. Walker, either Ciani or Scott, and then in left field, Burleson. I'm pretty good with that. Or Burleson, I've got Burleson at first, don't I? So
where are you going to fit Baker into that?
Lucan?
I'm kidding.
Tampa.
Randy.
I'm just saying.
Hey, he just hit his 31 home runs on the season for him now?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. So do you keep Newt and play Newt in left?
You might have to at this point.
Yeah, and count on him being healthy. But you bring back Pham, too. So you could have a lineup Tommy's 36, but you could have a lineup and still be very young. One of the problems the Cardinals have, by the way, is that they just don't have players between the ages of 28 and 32. They don't have guys in their prime. And that's when you win, is when you have a bunch of guys in their prime. I don't think among the Cardinals starting 8, aside from Contreras, they have any players from 28 to 32 years old.
Wow.
They're either older or younger, but not in those prime years of their career.
Yeah, that
and
very important.
Pitching-wise, too, right? None of the starters are in those prime years either.
That's
except for Steven Matz.
Yeah. How old is Palante?
I think he's 25.
Is he 25?
Sure. Yeah, he let's check, Andre.
Yep, 25.
Okay. So it's really interesting, the roster construction here. And maybe the young guys can all reach their primes at the same time and still be here and help the Cardinals win. I just think it's an interesting dilemma for the Cardinals if indeed, and this is a big if Goldschmidt stays hot and gets to 25 home runs and 25 doubles.
Which is possible because we've seen that where the numbers aren't great. And somebody pointed this out on the text line. I do understand that the numbers were not great for him. Obviously, we've seen, especially career-wise for him, where it takes him a little while to heat up. It's just that this season in particular, it's taken him a lot longer than compared to his other career numbers to really, I guess you could say, heat up because he's not fully hot yet. I think that you still need to see more of a stretch for him, and maybe he continue that in August and September, which is very important. I'm not taking away the value from that, but what concerns me is that we start to see those numbers especially trail off at the end of last season, carrying over into this year for such a long stretch.
And he's still, even if he winds up having a good month, it's been a year and a half, and he's still,
that's what I'm
today,
saying.
right now, only has a 686 OPS. That's not good enough.
No. What does that compare to his career average?
It's well over, at least coming into this year, it was well over 900. His career OPS is 894, 845 with the Cardinals, and 686 right now. Last year it was 810. When he won the MVP, it was 981 to lead the league.
Ooh.
So there you have it. Coming up next, we've got our Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. Cardinals split the series with the Royals over the weekend, winning 8-5 on Friday thanks to 2 Wilson Contreras homers and a huge Victor Scott II 2-run double. But on Saturday, the Royals scored 6 runs off the Cardinals bullpen as a 2-1 6-inning lead vanished when the Royals scored a run in the 6th inning and 4 in the 7th. Ryan Fernandez allowing 3 runs on 4 hits in a third of an inning. The Cardinals had a rare scheduled day off yesterday and will now play a 3-game series in Cincinnati starting tonight. First pitch is at 5:40.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Hey, for your next outdoor project in St. Louis, I want you to call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They've been in business for 56 years. Here's their phone number, 800-300-4054, 800-300-4054. Find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. And if you're going to have that outdoor project done, well, mention this show, mention Randy Karraker, and get 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. What kind of project you're asking? Well, obviously, fences and decks. They do a great job with cedar and vinyl fences, cedar and vinyl decks. But if you want to turn your deck into a sunroom or a screen room, make that conversion, they can help you out with that. They'll come out provide a free, no-obligation project design at your house. They'll take all the measurements. They'll show you photos of jobs that they've done to give you some ideas about what you might be able to do. And they'll do fantastic work. They're all about making you happy. And that's why Chesterfield Fence and Deck has an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. It's a great St. Louis company. I've used them for my fence. You will love Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Trust me. Again, the number 800-300-4054 at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:05 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Randy Karraker, great to have you with us. And Brooke, how about Jordan Walker down in Memphis? If folks haven't paid attention, his OPS down in Memphis in the month of August, now granted, it's only 43 at-bats, 47 August plate appearances. He's got a 1,000-plus OPS. He's hitting a ton of home runs, and he has hit the ball hard, really hard, over his last couple of games. And apparently, as he talked to the media, he said that he started laying off of the slider low and away, and that has changed his approach. The Cardinals wanted him to change his pitch selection. He has, and it's working for him. So at what point do the Cardinals here on August 12th say, okay, that's enough production, we're going to bring you up?
No, I think that you want to wait a little bit longer, but I'm saying go ahead and bring him up because you have a tough stretch of games coming up here, and you need another right-handed bat. Now, what other moves you can make in the process, I think is a bigger question. Nolan Gorman is still struggling at the plate. His strikeout rate is way up there, and I question, do you start to look at when you send him down possibly to work on some things?
I think you have to.
Do you think that it's gotten to that point with Gorman?
I totally do. Yeah, he's just not good enough. And his production is not the production of a playoff player. He needs to be better. And I think he needs to take it upon himself to kind of like Victor Scott and Jordan Walker have done, start listening to the coaching that the Cardinals are providing him and try to cut down on the swing a little bit. You can't strike out 50% of the time. You just can't.
You can't.
And he needs to take it upon himself to become a better hitter. He's certainly got the ability. We know he's got the ability, but he just isn't utilizing those abilities. It's like all he wants to do is swing hard and hit home runs.
And Lars Nootbaar has been struggling too. He is 18 for 84. I think here recently hitting .214. He struck out 21 times, 8 walks here recently, 5 extra base hits, 4 RBIs, 3 for 22, well below the Mendoza line in his past 10 games. And that's from when he's returned from injury. Do you also maybe look at sending Nootbaar? I'm not sure about his options. I wasn't able to look that up.
I believe he does have options, yes.
So do you look at maybe sending him down?
I think that'd be worthwhile. He just never really got a full spring training.
Yeah.
Now, it's kind of late now because, well, they have a month and a half left, but if you're going to bring Walker up, somebody's got to go.
That's where I was going with it, is that Walker should be up. And I know that Yvonne Herrera was hitting the ball well, too, and I want to give him a lot of credit, but he is dealing with an injury right now. I'm not sure if there's been any updates. I haven't seen any, at least from this past weekend. He's dealing with a left shoulder strain, so there goes another option for another right-handed bat that you could be bringing up. That's why I think that you should bring up Jordan Walker now. You need some pop. I know you can argue that you give him a little bit more time, and it makes sense when it comes to September, but at this point, the team needs to win as many games as possible. We talked about how far away they are from the division right now and how strong of a lead that the Brewers have over every team, including the Cardinals in the division. And the wild card spots, while it's closer, it's still a very tight race.
I just need to see more good production from Jordan Walker before I bring him up. 43 at-bats just isn't enough for him to perform at a really good level. I need to see more. And once he proves to me that he can do it over the course of maybe 6 weeks, I might bring him up when my rosters expand on September 1st. I think it's too soon. Because the other part of it is he's going to come up here. If you call him up this week, the first team he's going to see is the Dodgers, right?
Well, and that's my caveat, is that if there's some other players you might need to send down in order to have this coming up, because of their struggles. That's where I'm looking at this, is we've seen some current players on this roster struggling. Do you send them down, and who do you bring up in their place?
Yeah, I think you have to do that, because I think you've got players that clearly something is not resonating with them. If there's to Gorman specifically, I don't know if Newt Bar is healthy, but for Gorman specifically, you just can't strike out 50% of the time. For me, actually, you know what? It'd be a punishment. He deserves it to go down to the minors. He keeps getting rewarded for inefficiency here, and I don't think players should be rewarded for inefficiency.
You know who doesn't strike out a lot is Alec Burleson, and that's why I enjoy watching him so much. And that feels almost like a lost skill at this point, where the strikeout percentage doesn't really matter that much, but it should, especially when you look at Nolan Gorman. And I think you bring up a really good question, too, about the players listening. And we were kind of talking about this with Victor Scott II, where Ludwig was able to point out to him, and he listened, and he gave a lot of credit to Ludwig for helping him in that situation. Is baseball one of the few sports where the players maybe don't listen to some of the guys who've actually been there, done that at such a high level?
And they get away from their team's coaches. Now, that happens in hockey. Robert Thomas works with Adam Oates, and a lot of young players work with Adam Oates. Actually, in Minnesota, that's one of the reasons that Mike Yeo got fired there, is because Zach Parisi and somebody else brought Adam Oates actually to a wild practice, and Yeo went crazy because Oates isn't on their coaching staff. It does happen a lot, but if the player is productive, it's fine. If the player isn't productive, then the organization has reason to be upset. I don't think, well, heck, think about Russell Wilson having his own private quarterback coach with the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it does happen.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
But that's what I don't understand, is that you have to build a relationship and a trust with the organization. And I would assume that they would only put people in place that would want to help you and benefit you. So I don't know. And I'm sure for some players, like Aaron Judge has his own hitting coach that he works with specifically, and it works well for him.
And Richard is great. He's probably listening right now. He does a terrific job. There are private coaches who do a good job, who are responsible and help their athletes. I think there are other guys who, for whatever reason, they're teaching the kids the same thing they taught them when they were 11 years old, and the game changes and the pitchers evolve, and it becomes a different game. You mentioned Burleson, who has great bat-to-ball skills, but it's notable to me when you talk about paying attention that with a 2-strike count, Burleson, Donovan, Mason Wynn will cut down their swing and get the bat on the ball and just try to get the ball in play. That's something that Nolan Gorman does not do. I saw him do it once this year. But there is something to be said with a 2-strike count to just getting your bat on the ball, and wherever the ball goes, either get a hit or make the opposition make a play.
Yeah, and that's why I think that Burleson, we see why they were so bullish on him, because he has that discipline, which you're not seeing so much with some of these younger players at the plate.
And I get that it's hard to do when the guy's throwing 100 miles an hour, but try. Just try, because a lot of people can go up there and swing hard. Chris Carter hit 41 home runs the next year he was out of baseball because all he did was swing hard. So look up Chris Carter at Baseball Reference. I always liked him because he kind of cooled off the stadium a little bit because of the way he swung.
That's so mean.
He was something. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, I didn't text Chip yesterday, but we're going to call Chip anyway and see if he'll come on with. Oh, he's good. He's good to go. We heard back.
He's always good.
So Chip is good. He's next on 101 ESPN.
The countdown is now under a month. That's right. The NFL is almost back. We're coming up to the best time of the year again. Football season is right around the corner, and the best way to play your daily fantasies with our friends over at Underdog Fantasy and their different games, all the different games you can play. Obviously, they're daily games I always love to play. You can jump in. You can even get some streak games going right now, some futures plays as well. Right now, in fact, we're a few weeks out, but you can already get your plays in for week 1 of the NFL season. In fact, if you join right now, they're going to give you a special discounted pick to get your plays in for week 1 of the NFL season. But I know if you don't want to get in just some plays for a few weeks from now, you want to get in something today. Let's put together a baseball play for today. Let's go Cardinals and Reds. I'm going to go Ellie De La Cruz higher than 1.5 total bases because you just know even if he gets a single, there's a good chance he's going to grab that second base at some point. Andrew Abbott, I'm going to go higher than 5.5 strikeouts. He's a power pitcher. That's why he lets up a lot of home runs, but he's also going to strike out a team when we know how much the Cardinals like to strike out. But again, Andrew Abbott is tied for the NL lead in home runs alongside Austin Gomber, and he's not doing that in Colorado half the time. So the man gives up home runs. So we're going to go with Paul Goldschmidt, higher than 0.5 home runs. That's going to be all scorchers, so it's going to take us up to 17.3 on a standard. You can also go with a flex play, which means you're going to get an 8.6 odds on all three. You're going to get a 2.6 odds on just hitting 2, so you can play a little safety there. Also, I would suggest maybe throwing in Wilson Contreras because, again, righty on lefty, hits a lot of home runs. Abbott lets up a lot of home runs. A lot of plays today in that Cardinals and Reds game on Underdog Fantasy. Making pick on Underdog Fantasy is so easy and even easier to get started. Like I said, you can go to the mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up with the promo code ROCC, and Underdog's going to give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick 'em entry plus a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC. Claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus from President's Day where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Consider the play call. Winner and gambler. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Chip in a moment. We were talking about the bat-to-ball skills of Alec Burleson. Brooke, in Major League Baseball this year, Luis Ariz of the Padres is far and away the leader in at-bats per strikeout. He strikes out once every 18 at-bats. 18 at-bats for every strikeout. That's pretty good. Second in Major League Baseball is Stephen Kwan of the Guardians. He strikes out once every 10.5 at-bats. Then Nico Horner of the Cubs, once every 8.2 at-bats. Alec Burleson is fourth in Major League Baseball, striking out once every 7.3 at-bats. And Brendan Donovan is sixth at once every 7.2. Burleson and Jose Ramirez of Cleveland tied for fourth and fifth, and then Donovan once every 7.2. So that's pretty good. The other ones in the top 10, Alex Bregman of Houston, Jeff McNeil of the Mets, Vinny Pasquantino of the Royals, and Brian O'Hearn of Baltimore. So the Cardinals have two of the top performers in terms of at-bats per strikeout. That's pretty good.
And none of the names surprised me that you just listed there. Because if you're watching, then you know, because of their bat-to-ball skills, you're able to see that discipline at the plate and expect them to do something just about every time that they're at the dish.
Chip Carey, the TV voice of the Cardinals on Bally Sports, joins us now from Cincinnati. Is Cincinnati the Queen City, sir? Good morning.
That's what they call it. Yeah, I don't know why, but that's what they call it. It's a beautiful day here. Should be a nice night for baseball, and can't wait to get the series started after a needed off day yesterday.
Okay, no Reds fans are listening. Skyline chili, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Gross. No, thank you. Pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, I'm with you. Although I did eat it as a youngster.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, to each his own. People say the same thing about Provel cheese, but they're wrong because that's like manna from heaven on a St. Louis pizza. So they can have their chili.
Thank you, Chip. This will be an interesting series. The Cardinals, after this one, they'll play 21 in a row against teams that would make the playoffs if they started today. So one thing they need to do is take advantage of the Reds. But Chip, one of the other things they're going to have to do over the course of the next month is beat really good teams.
Yeah, that's great. It's an opportunity. It's there for the taking. If the Cardinals can do it, this is their season. I mean, let's put it plainly and clearly and put it on the plate. This is the Cardinals' season. If you want to make the playoffs, you got to beat these teams. You've got the Reds, a chance to step on their backs and maybe push them out of playoff contention. Then you've got the Dodgers, who play Milwaukee in a 4-game series, so we'll be big Dodger fans while we're playing the Reds. And then we're home with a 3-game series with Milwaukee. If you want to win the division, you've got to start winning these games. You've got to take advantage of your opportunities when you get them. I think that's been the most perplexing thing about this Cardinals team all summer is their inability to hit with runners in scoring position. That really plagued them in the first 7 games against the Brewers, and we keep hoping that the consistency light will switch on in that regard for the Cardinals, and maybe it starts tonight in the Great American Small Park against a really good Reds pitching staff.
Do you have any concerns about the bullpen? We were talking about this earlier. Obviously, on Saturday in the game that they lost, we saw where Ryan Fernandez struggled, and he was great prior to the All-Star break, and he's kind of hit a roadblock here in the second half of the season. Do you have some concerns about the bullpen?
I think you always worry about that, Brooke, this time of year, right? Guys that have a lot of mileage on the odometer. In the case of Fernandez, he's pitched more innings now or is close to more innings now than he's ever pitched before. Kittredge coming off Tommy John surgery, didn't pitch a lot of innings last year. He's been used an awful lot, and that, again, goes back to what we keep saying about the Cardinals' offense. This is an offense problem, not necessarily a pitching problem. Every game the Cardinals play is 3 runs or less or a 1-run game, and you've got to give your bullpen some margin for error. That just hasn't happened consistently enough for the Cardinals. Yes, they're winning the 1-run games, but you're having to use your main guys an awful lot, and you want to make sure that they have something left in the tank for August and September, and I think we're seeing the byproduct of that right now. I think it's hoped that Riley O'Brien will be up here at some point. He's been activated. He's down in Memphis, and he's looked very good. That would be a very fresh arm that if he can come up and provide some stability and some innings out there, it would be welcome, I'm sure, for everybody involved. But, again, I go back to what I said before. If the Cardinals can score 4 runs a game, they're 28, 29 games over 500. When they don't, they really struggle to win. I mean, that's the old line that George Kissel had in spring training. He'd take his fungo bat and take the knob and scratch in the dirt, 3.5. Boys, that's the over-under. Get to 4 runs and take your chances. And when the Cardinals have done that, they've been very successful. And that's what they've got to do here over the last 7 weeks, I think.
Chip Carey with us on 101 ESPN. And Chip, right before you came on, we were talking about Alec Burleson. He's 4th in Major League Baseball in at-bats per strikeout. He's hitting .277. He's up there in terms of this ball club leading the way. and he's played a really good outfield this year. There are complementary players and there are centerpiece players in baseball on good teams. I kind of look at Burleson now as a centerpiece player. How do you look at him?
I think, you'd love it if he was more, how do I say this the right way? I think as he plays more, he'll get more confident in his defense, and I think fans and management will get more confident in him. He's by no means a bad outfielder. He just looks like a big lumbering guy out there. Mm-hmm. That's his body type. That's what he is. But remember, the Braves had a guy named Ryan Klesko that played the outfield. He had 30 bombs and drove in 80 or 90 every year for a really, really good team. And I think Alec has shown that, yes, his bat-to-ball skills have been terrific. He's hitting for power. I think once he learns to hit lefties a little more consistently, you can put him in that centerpiece kind of guy. But no question about it, for the Cardinals this year, in a year where they haven't gotten the kind of production they thought they were going to get from their big three right-handed hitters, Contreras, Goldschmidt, and Arenado, it's the young guys, Burleson and Wynn and Donovan, who have really come up and saved the team's bacon. And I think Alec deserves all the accolades he's gotten. He's a really good professional hitter, and I think he's only going to get better as he gets more experience.
Speaking of right-handed hitters, Jordan Walker, I'm sure, as you have seen, has just been destroying baseballs down in the minors. Do you think that we will see him up here soon, or do you think they give him a few more weeks?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that's something that everybody's wondering is how that's going to play out. Look, we're at the time of the season, in my opinion, where this isn't about what might be. It's about who's hot and who's swinging the bat well right now. We got to hit. I think we've said that all summer, right? We've got to hit. We've got to give ourselves a chance to do some damage and slug. And when the Cardinals have done that, they've been a really fun and entertaining team to watch, but they haven't been able to do it with any kind of consistency. I don't think we've had more than a 2-game win streak since June, if I read that correctly in the clips today, which is astounding to still be in the pennant race and have that taking place. But, this is the time of year where it's big boy time, right? It's produce or go home. And I think everybody in Cardinal Nation is looking forward to some more production, and whether that comes from someone in the minor leagues or the guys up here, it needs to happen. And hopefully, again, as I said, it starts tonight against the Reds.
Chip, in addition to being the Cardinals play-by-play guy, you're a huge fan. And here you are in a stretch where you got to watch Bobby Witt a couple of times. You get to watch Mason Wynn every day. Now you get to see L.A. De La Cruz for 3 games in Cincinnati. You're witnessing a wealth of young shortstops that are playing at a really high level.
It's really fun to watch, isn't it? I mean, the game is in such great shape as far as the young stars that we're seeing. Look, Bobby Witt just has had a monster second half. He really only did a little damage against the Cardinals in the 2-game series, which is a moral victory for sure, as hot as he has been. The fact that Mason Wynn the other day played sick and grinded through a really rough game where the Cardinals needed him says a lot about his character and his desire and will to win. And L.A. De La Cruz, this guy's a freak of nature, and hopefully we'll keep him off the base paths because we don't want a track meet on the infield when he gets aboard for Cincinnati. So, 3 great shortstops that we've seen, and we are really indeed privileged to watch Mason Wynn do his thing. I can't wait to see what his future is going to be like.
All right, one final thing, and you said at the outset here, yesterday was a much-needed day off. I said at the start of this show that when the Major League Baseball schedule should start with no Sunday off days. It never happened until the last couple of years with the new scheduling, but a Sunday off day, come on, they can do better than that, can't they? We're better than this.
It's a little weird the way it works out. I hate 2-game series. I just think they're dumb, right? Let's just make them all 3-game series. Why do we have to have a 4-gamer and a 2-game? Play 3-game series. It's perfect, and I think that's going to be addressed in the schedule next year. The Cardinals have 3 games in Kansas City, 3 games against the Royals in St. Louis. That's the way it ought to be to create that rivalry, and to continue that I-70 series rivalry. But Sunday off day. Look, it's unfortunate that it came on that day because everybody's sitting around wanting to watch the Cardinals play. But I'll tell you what, as a group, I think we all didn't care what day of the week it was. 16 games, 16 days with all that this team's been going through. It was a much-needed break, and hopefully they'll come out refreshed and ready to go tonight.
And now, just an abundance of intelligence on the part of the schedule makers, 3 off days in the next 12.
Well, that part of it's good because it really allows the Cardinals to set their rotation for the Brewers series. I mean, if you look at it from that standpoint, this is a great schedule. You've got this series against the Reds. You've got a day off. Then you've got the Dodgers. Then you've got another day off in front of Milwaukee. So it will give the Cardinals a chance to really set things the way that they think will be best advantageous for them in the first of those 2 remaining critical series against the team ahead of us in the Central.
All right. Finally, Chip, work with me here. I have an idea. Every series would be a 3-game series. You still play 162 games. You preserve and enhance the rivalries within your division. You go back to 18 games within your division, okay? 72 games. You play 6 games against the other 10 teams in your league, home and home, against each of those teams. That's another 60. So you're up to 132 games. Then you play a division in the other league. Every third year, every fan base gets to see every single player. You play 10 games against, or 6 games against another division for 30 games. 162 games. Every team in a division plays a full schedule. You have the divisional rivalries. Every third year, you get to see every player in baseball. Every series is a 3-game series. And it just makes all the sense in the world to me.
I went to public school. That's a lot of higher math for me, Randy. I'll take your word for it. It sounds like a great idea. I will say that I was originally a fan of the new schedule where you play everybody, but I'm not as big a fan of it as I thought I would be. And the travel ease and all of that stuff, the preparation and stuff for the coaching staffs, it's a real challenge. It's not easy. I do like the fact that you play everybody because it's much fairer than matching up with a weak division. And you're a team in the East, you got to play a Central Division team and a group of clubs that isn't doing so well. But I think the schedule is always going to be a topic of conversation, a topic of discussion. And look, when we expand in a couple of years, which is what I think is on the horizon, we're going to probably realign everything again, so get ready for that, and we'll have a whole new batch of schedule problems to argue about on the radio.
Well, Chip, you said you went to public school, but you went to the best out of all the Parkway schools, right?
I did. That goes without saying, but straight C+ average, and as I keep saying, grades aren't everything, so just keep that in mind.
Chip, I'm a Parkway North grad. And I don't believe I reached a C+ average, but here I am.
And here we are. Exactly right. Exactly right. It's truly a miraculous occurrence for both of us.
When Parkway North plays Parkway West in football this year, we're going to bet on something.
That sounds great. Yeah, that's perfect.
We'll do it. All right, brother.
Skyline chili and a pound of Provel. How about that?
There you go. Hey, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for the time. Have a great week in Cincy, and we'll see you when you get back home.
Look forward to it, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank
Chip.
you.
Take care. That's our buddy Chip Carey with us on 101 ESPN.
Do you guys always battle it out about who is the best Parkway?
No, you don't have to. Parkway North is the best.
Oh.
Yeah. 1978, John Kelly. 1980, me. 1982, Steve Savard. And then later on down the line, you had the Sklar brothers come out, the comedians. You had Andy Strickland come out of Parkway North. We're the kingpins. Go Vikings.
There's a lot of people who came out of Parkway West, too, right?
Oh, are there?
I think so.
Didn't Stone?
Well, including Chip.
Stone Phillips, Chip. Who else?
West. Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert. Yeah, he had a good career.
Blaine Gabbert.
The Blaine Gabbert.
There's some people that we're missing here.
Are there?
Yes.
I text in if you know them. I don't.
I like this. I always love how the high school conversation gets people riled up here.
That's pretty funny. Hey, coming up, Deion Sanders is already into it with the Denver media. Should he be? That's next time, 101 ESPN. My friends at Hoffman Brothers Heating, Cooling, Electrical, and Plumbing are wonderful, and you can give them a call at 314-664-3011 or visit hoffmanbros.com. Hoffman Brothers, improving life in every home, is proud to be a Mitsubishi Electric elite contractor. And if you have a problem with air conditioning or your furnace, you need to get in touch with Hoffman Brothers, because when you don't have air conditioning or heat, there's nothing worse, and you're left with uncomfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable. Hoffman Brothers offers heating, cooling repairs, maintenance, and this is a key, installation. If your system is older, not running as efficient, you have higher energy bills, or any loud or unusual noises by the furnace or air conditioner, your system won't keep up, and it may be time to replace it. And that's why you need to get in touch with Hoffman Brothers. They have expert HVAC field professionals who can come out and do a thorough diagnosis, provide you options on what is best for you and your home. And if you prefer to just find out what a new system costs, Hoffman Brothers can give you the price. Give them a call, 314-664-3011, or visit hoffmanbros.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals, after a day off yesterday, are back in action, starting a 3-game series against the Reds tonight. It's Sonny Gray facing off the lefty for the Reds, Andrew Abbott. Abbott on the season is 9-9 with a 3.70 ERA, and he is tied with Austin Gomber for the lead in the National League with 24 home runs allowed already this season. Also over the weekend in League's Cup play, St. Louis City SC moves on with a 3-1 victory over the Portland Timbers. They will be in action tomorrow as they face off against Club America from Carson, California, with a 9:30 p.m. kickoff. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Next guy.
Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, my
Ain't got nothing to do with you. This is above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right.
Joe Rigo, my life with you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
That's Deion Sanders, the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, we are an ESPN affiliate. We are not we are not employed by ESPN. We have nothing to do with the mothership in Bristol. What you see on First Take, what you see on Sports Center, what you hear nationally on ESPN Radio, we have nothing to do with at all. Mm-hmm. And that's the way this gentleman in Denver is. He works for a CBS station that has nothing to do with CBS.com or the CBS Sports Network. So for Deion Sanders to be contentious with that particular reporter, and he admitted it, is pretty disingenuous. I think he's just being mean to be mean.
It is. And he even said, like, oh, no, I know that it doesn't have anything to do with you. Then why are you singling him out? There's so many times, having worked in TV, too, where we were a CBS affiliate over at KMOV, and people thought that we had, complete control of what happened with CBS and their coverage. Mm-hmm. They're two separate entities, and they're owned by different companies. Like, yes, you have CBS as your logo, and it's on the CBS channel, but really there's nothing that goes along with that. He was just being mean to be mean. And he talked about whatever was said with CBS, which I haven't been able to find. Like, what was his issue with what somebody said on CBS?
There was a report about his son having to file for bankruptcy because he got involved in a situation.
Was CBS the only one that reported on that? I highly doubt that.
I don't think so, no.
Exactly. So you're going to just single out CBS in that situation. That is just absolutely ridiculous, and it looks silly. If you combine that with what happened last year, where they got off to a great start, and then things just really went downhill, you also saw a lot of interviews, too, where he was starting to get really just kind of upset and angsty, talking about the outside noise. If you have to keep talking about the outside noise and that you're not paying attention and it's not affecting you, but you have to go and say that over and over again, I think it is affecting you.
And I can tell you, and people that work in sports media are human, and they just want to be treated respectfully. And we can say this, Mike Matheny did not have a great relationship with the local sports media. And it certainly didn't help him when he was on thin ice towards the end of his managerial career. Dick Vermeil nearly got fired at the end of the 1998 season, but everybody liked him, and he treated people with respect and dignity. I believe that there is something to be said for the way that a coach or a manager is perceived by the media, and the conduit to the media or to the fans is the media. I think there's a great deal of perception that occurs by the way a coach or manager treats individuals in the media.
Yeah, and I understand. You're going to get pushback. I don't mind sometimes when there's pushback between the media and with managers, coaches, or whatever, because sometimes it's the coach also sticking up for their player or their team in certain situations. We've seen that even with Ali Marmal and different managers and things like that. I understand that, but at the same time, when you say that just because CBS covers something and that guy has nothing to do with it, and I think that we need to touch on this maybe a little bit more and explain it, because some people are kind of confused on the text line because they're saying he had, let's see, his question, not because he had anything against that particular guy, but because he's under the CBS umbrella. So it's kind of confusing unless you're in the business because, Randy, I'm sure you've heard it. I would have people say, oh, I only watch Fox affiliates because that's the only station I watch and pay attention to is Fox. A lot of those companies are not under that same umbrella. So like KMOV is owned by Gray. Gray is the business that owns them, not CBS. And Fox 2, I think that they're Nexstar. So Nexstar is the company that owns them, not Fox. Right. So that's what we mean by that. It's not even under the same umbrella. No. There's not really a connection between the two.
And from a radio perspective,
other than programming,
we are owned by Hubbard Broadcasting, which has nothing to do with the ownership of CBS. So yes, while this guy's company name was CBS, the company isn't CBS. And Deion Sanders was blaming him for something that happened a half a country away, written by somebody that guy probably doesn't even know.
I never met anybody from CBS. I would have loved to, but I never met anybody from CBS.
The other report I saw is that he was mad that they put out a coach ranking for the conference, and he was at the bottom of the coach ranking. And either way, whether it's the Sun story, one of those things is a factual story that you just reported, which is the job of a news people, which you can't hold against them. And two is an opinion piece after you went 1-8 in the last 9 games of your season last year. I believe it was the record after a few wins. So I mean, you shouldn't really. That's an opinion piece with pretty good facts behind it in the first place. So it's a bad precedent to start yelling at media and refusing to take media's questions because somebody had an opinion or somebody reported a fact.
Yeah, and if you keep it up, ultimately, he is a darling still in Colorado. But you better win, because if things start to slide again this year, every little negative thing that can be brought out, that could go either way, the negative is, sadly for him, going to be reported. So you better win. If you lose by a score of 30-24, it's going to be pointed out why you lost 30-24.
And that's the main point here, right? Is that if you win, nobody cares.
Right.
You can really say whatever you want. Look at how much, Bill Belichick.
Somebody
look at how much the perception.
Saban.
Saban. The thing is that if you are pushback, like look at Saban. He wasn't a great interview. Now he's kind of changed since he's gone over to the broadcasting side, which you see over and over again with some of those tougher coaches. But the thing is that if you win, people won't really care as much if you push back with media reporters, but it's a bad look when you had your season fall apart like it did last year. And this year, you have to win to be able to kind of back up the talk that goes with it.
Right. And I wonder if he'll ever change his view of that particular reporter that he has so much love and respect for. And to the reporter's credit, he said, we should handle this behind closed doors. And Deion agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is a textbook example of people who do media poorly. You should never take away local access because of something that happens nationally, because local is always going to give you more benefit. National is always going to come at stories for the biggest hit with the littlest amount of context. That's the way the national is always going to look at things. Local people are going to have a ton of context. They're going to give you a lot more leash, and they're going to come out with a much more reasonable perspective. And so blindsiding a local person because of a national perspective is a dumb way to do media in college sports. It's the dumbest way to do media. Always prioritize the local over the national, and trust me, it will always be better for you.
He needs a media guy there. He needs an SID, a good SID at Colorado.
But I think that's also part of his charm and his flair, though, right? It's that you know that he's going to say whatever he's thinking, he doesn't hold back. So I kind of understand it from that point. It's just in this situation, I didn't like to see it because I think the biggest thing is, whatever with that situation is that I want to see him succeed, and I know that he has the ability to do so. But when you start to see kind of where things are getting to a coach's head like that, then you know that carries into the locker room or clubhouse too.
And I get that there's a lot of disdain for all things media in our country right now. And sometimes it can work for you, but not if you're going 4-8 in college football.
Yeah. I mean, look at how Eli Drinkwitz was really able to change his public perception. He wasn't taking shots all the time at media members, but sometimes he would. But it was some of the other things that he would say about other teams, other coaches, players, different things like that caught a lot of fire. And now look at how much attention that he's getting because he was able to win.
Yep.
It changes quickly.
Makes a big difference. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, we've got rock and roll. Plus, we've got tickets for the Cardinals to give away. That's next on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. If you want an absolutely delectable lunch today, you need to head to the Fenton Bar and Grill. It's on Rudder Road in Fenton. It's 2 minutes from the soccer park, and you want to start with their mouth-watering trash wings. The greatest wings you'll ever have are right here in St. Louis at the Fenton Bar and Grill. Have them with their signature golden sauce or the delicious ranch, and you will have an unbelievably scrumptious start to your lunch. But then take advantage of a mouth-watering menu that includes spectacular wraps and wonderful burgers. And, of course, they're absolutely marvelous salads that are fresh and they're cool and they're refreshing at this time of year in St. Louis. It's an absolutely magnificent place to go if you want to enjoy a lunch, maybe after golf, maybe a little happy hour, or a magnificent dinner, too. It's the Fenton Bar and Grill. Everything there is great. Say hi to Kelly and say hi to Megan and say hi to Casey, the whole gang. They're really fun. And you'll love the sports at the Fenton Bar and Grill, too. I love it. It's a great place for you to go. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com. And when you go, tell them Randy sent you to the Fenton Bar and Grill. Chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to next Tuesday night's Budweiser Bash game for the Cardinals against the Brewers. Next week's Bud Bash game features a limited edition Woody Williams bobblehead. Text in now and you can win it, or you can get all the details on this season's series of Budweiser Bash Cardinals games now at cardinals.com/promotions. That's cardinals.com/promotions. But here we go for the 4-pack of tickets. Text into 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO to win the tickets versus the Brewers next Tuesday, August 20th. And Matthew has a great question for you, and we'll take texter number 19. Texter number 19 in honor of Woody Williams with the Cardinals. Matthew, what's the question?
When Woody Williams joined the Cardinals midway through the 2001 season, what National League club was he joining from?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh. Okay, I like this. Okay, good question. And texter number 19 wins the Ducats, 4 of them, to the Cardinals and the Brewers. All right, Matthew, what do we got for rock and roll?
I want to throw this out because there was some confusion. I mentioned the Jordan Childs thing and how my favorite win from the Olympics.
Not Jackie Childs, by the way.
Or
Julia.
Or Julia Childs. Thank you. Jordan Childs. Because I said my favorite Olympic win for the United States is going to be when they slap the IOC down in court and she's allowed to keep her bronze medal. And there was a little bit of confusion because somebody was like, well, they didn't get the appeal in time. Why, you got to follow the rules. Well, one of the reasons the story is continuing to update, not only is the IOC come out and the American Olympic Committee, has come out and said we're going to appeal this to the IOC, but there is now reporting from late last night that there was video from the event where they were actually able to see that the appeal was first actually put in at the 47-second mark, not the minute 4-second mark, which would have been 4 seconds after the thing. And not only that, apparently, according to this video, not only do the American Olympic coaches put in the first appeal at the 47-second mark, after they then get an announcement, they get an answer 8 seconds later, they then put in a second appeal at the 55-second mark. So apparently they got 2 appeals in under the minute, when the IOC is saying that the appeal actually didn't happen until the minute 4 mark. So something's going on here. Something's not right. And if this video, which the United States Olympic Committee says is time-stamped, if this video is accurate, then something weird and fishy is going on here with the IOC and what they're doing with Jordan Childs.
Sounds like Jordan Childs needs to hire Jackie Childs.
It's outrageous, egregious, preposterous.
I knew that something was coming.
My God, that was so good. I should have seen that coming.
I knew that something was coming. This kind of seems a little bit ridiculous, right? Like, isn't it an arbitrary timeline anyways, and it's 4 seconds that we're debating about here?
Yeah, and shouldn't we look past the technicality? This is a pretty big deal. Shouldn't we just try to get it right?
Yeah.
She scored the points.
Yeah.
She did.
And that's my thing is you just give the other woman a bronze medal as well.
And that's what Romania asked for.
And that's the thing. In Olympic history, or at least I should say a recent Olympic history, because the article I was reading didn't go prior to the 50s, I want to say. No one has ever had to give back a medal without actually them making a mistake themselves, them personally doing something that gave them an unfair advantage or gave other players a not as fair advantage to win. And all these other screw-ups, they just give other people the medal also and let the other person keep it. And so them actually asking for Childs' medal back was breaking precedent, and it was also apparently breaking precedent in a way that was unnecessary because apparently the rule wasn't broken. And I also have to ask, this minute-long window for appeal, is that minute-long window is the timer for that minute started by a human, and is that timer stopped by a human? Because 4 seconds seems a very short amount of time if it's human on both ends to just be hard stop 60 seconds. I feel like you could screw that up and forget to press it one way or the other, and now we're talking about a smaller or larger window than it should be.
And that's why I think it's just ridiculous, because it is an arbitrary timeline. There's human error there. Either way, the points are her points. Mm-hmm. She did what she needed to do, something that was completely out of her control. Somehow she's going to lose her medal for it. It kind of reminds me of all the controversy, remember, earlier this year with Jordan Spieth and the bathroom incident?
Yeah, right.
Luckily, they're fixing. By the way, did you see that they're fixing that?
Oh no,
for next year, so that it doesn't happen anymore. But sometimes those weird, arbitrary rules, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know why the IOC, at the end of the day, wouldn't want to get it right.
Yes,
because it's pretty clear cut with judging and with the level of difficulty, with the scoring that's in place. It is clear cut as to who wins and doesn't win.
Yes.
Right? So I don't understand why the IOC would want to stick with something that's wrong.
No.
Why would you? Isn't that weird? Although we see it a lot.
Wouldn't be the first time the IOC really stepped in it, would it?
Well, no, the IOC or anybody, I mean, there are people out there that actually want to keep innocent people in jail, too.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, so, people seem to, the NFL does it. The NFL did it with the pass interference rules. Mm-hmm. They embrace being incorrect. It's kind of crazy, but it is what it is.
By the way, the answer, we have our winner, was the San Diego Padres. He was 8-8 with the Padres in 2001, and they came over and finished 7-1 in 11 starts for the Cardinals. Woody Williams' stats always jump out at me because I always forget. He went 18-9 in 2003, 11-8 in 2004, 9-12 in 2005, and then 12-5 in 2006. Woody Williams was a huge trade for the Cardinals.
Ray Langford traded to the Padres for Woody, and I'll never forget Woody coming over. And soon after, he was just amazed at the game plan, and this is pre-computers and pre-analytics that Dave Duncan was providing him, and he said it's amazing. Like if I get a guy 0-2, I have the knowledge that he will not swing at an 0-2 slider. So you throw him an 0-2 slider, and the guy will not swing at it. But you could get him if you threw that pitch in the zone. If you threw an 0-2 slider in the zone, the guy wasn't going to swing, and you strike him out. So that sort of knowledge was available to Woody Williams, and he never had that anywhere else in his pitching career until he got here.
That seems crazy.
Yeah. And those sorts of tendencies were something that Dave Duncan kept a very close eye on. Pretty amazing.
Be in the Hall of Fame.
He should be. He's going into the Cardinal Hall of Fame, by the way.
Great.
Coming
Fantastic.
up this month. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio. Great to have you back.
Thanks, guys. Great to be back.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Of course.
This was a fun Monday. Can you sing the song for us just one more time, please?
No, please don't.
Oh, Brooke, please.
No.
I'll do it with you.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Can you take me higher?
They're awesome.
Fantastic. Great job, Brooke. You killed it.
That's going to become a thing.
We're just
here.
little performers in your circus,
You
Randy.
are.
Oh, God. Dance, puppets, dance.
Basically.
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show for all of us until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a magnificent Monday, St. Louis. Hey, I want you to know what commercial am I doing here again? I forgot. Schnucks, yeah. Oh, yeah, my Schnucks Rewards app. I used it yesterday. I love my Schnucks Rewards app, and it is incredible what you can get from the Schnucks Rewards app, because now you can get double points when you use your Schnucks Rewards app. You're going to get a personalized coupon in your Schnucks Rewards app, and when you get it, rather than getting 2% back on everything you purchase, you'll get 4% back on everything you purchase. And you can use it whenever you want, especially when you go in and you make that big purchase at Schnucks. It's really nice to be able to go in and get 4% back, and then you use it 10 times, 15 times, and at some point they're going to say, hey, you've got $25 in points. Do you want to use them? And you say, yes, this is a good time to do it. So take advantage of that at Schnucks, and take advantage of a couple of things. Number one, with the Schnucks Rewards app, on your birthday week, you get a free donut. You'll get that coupon in your Rewards app. You just put your birthday into the Rewards app, and you'll get a free donut during birthday week. And then when the Cardinals hit a home run, you get dingers for donuts with the Schnucks Rewards app. Another free donut for you. Every morning after the Cardinals hit a home run, you get